It's now 6:32, and so we are going to go ahead and get started with our special called meeting. So I'd like to call this special call meeting to order. At this time, I'd like to ask Commissioner Long if she would lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. And before we get started, I'll be filling in as vice chair tonight in the absence of our interim chair is out tonight. And so I'll be leading our meetings on tonight, our special call meeting, as well as our 7 o'clock meeting. Um, Now it's time for us to adopt the agenda. So I seek a motion to adopt our special call meeting agenda. All right, I have a motion. Is there a second? All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? All right, none opposed. That passes. At this time, we're going to enter into our executive session. Our executive session tonight is for the purpose of litigation. Um, So we won't have a need to actually take any vote or anything tonight. So I just need a motion to move into executive session. All right, I have a motion. Is there a second? All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? All right, that passes. We are adjourned into executive session. All right, we have returned back from our executive session. We just need a motion to reconvene. And is there, okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor to reconvene? All right, that motion passes. Then we'll just need another motion to adjourn this executive session. I have a motion. Is there a second? I have a motion and a second. All in favor to adjourn? All right, that passed. This meeting is adjourned. And we'll reconvene in now. It is now 7:00 p.m., and I'd like to call our 7:00 p.m. meeting to order. I will be sitting in for our interim chair on tonight as the vice chair this year. And so I'd like to go ahead and ask Commissioner Edwards, if you don't mind, doing our invocation, and Commissioner Cooper, if you don't mind, doing our Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If we would bow our heads. Dear Lord, thank you for another day we have to come and do the business of the county. We ask that you smile upon us, lead us through this holiday season, and thank you for the citizens that are here tonight, Lord. I ask you that you watch over us, give us wisdom and guidance. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda. You all have had an opportunity to review the agenda, and so I call for a motion to adopt the agenda. So we do have some amendments. That's right. We have some amendments. So before we do that adoption, let's remove agenda items 11. And then also agenda items number 15. So we're going to be removing agenda items number 11 and 15. And then we're also going to be adding an item tonight. We're going to add item 21A as in apple. Item 21A. And that will be the consideration for approval of the revised service delivery strategy documents. That's 21A, consideration for approval, the revised service delivery strategy documents. We're also going to add item 21B as in boy. 21B as in boy, that's consideration of professional services agreement with Matrix Consulting Group for systemic review and update of operations audit for Newton County Fire Services. So that's consideration of professional services agreement with Matrix Consulting Group for systemic review and update of operations audit for Newton County Fire Services. All right, everybody got those removals and additions? All right, so I'd like to call for a motion to accept those amendments to the agenda.
So moved.
And is there a second? All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve the amendment of the agenda. All in favor? All right, that passes. So now I'd like to call for an adoption of the agenda now that we have approved the amendments. All right, is there a second? All right, I have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. All in favor? All right, that motion passes to adopt the agenda. Next on our agenda is public comments. This is the time to allow our public to come up and comment and voice their concerns or their opinions regarding any agenda topics only. Once again, that's agenda topics only. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes. So if we have any public comments today. And when you come, if you don't mind, please state your name and your address for the record.
Hi, my name is Annette Alston. I'm with Trelawney, and I'm speaking to the reports from the county manager, which should be on it. No data campus on Brown Bridge and Crow. No full public disclosure notice was afforded the residents surrounding where this data center is proposed to be built. There was a meeting in Porterdale that most people knew nothing about. The city of Porterdale, with a population of just over 2,000 people, decided to place the data campus on a huge acreage of land that was annexed to Porterdale 10 years ago, but sits smack in the middle of Covington and unincorporated Covington.
That's actually not on the agenda for tonight.
It's part of the county manager reports, should be, because I don't see the county manager report listed as to what he's speaking about, and this is something he should be speaking about.
Okay, well, what we're asking for at this particular time is agenda topics only. If you want to address that at the end of the meeting, you can do that. But right now, it's just agenda topics only. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate you. Anyone else that's coming to speak on agenda topics only? And if you can, please state your name and your address for the record.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Miller. Address is 15 Parkman Trail, Covington. I'm coming today to speak on the warming shelter and the need that it is needed in our community. I think we need to break some misconceptions for the county and how it's portrayed along the way. I've been involved in the homeless community. My mother, I know that many of y'all might not know me, but my mother's been a homeless resident in Newton County for 10 plus years. She passed away this August. However, as a citizen taking myself out of the situation and looking what is portrayed by the county, it makes it seem like this is a city or county run entity, and that is not. The funding is requested to help run this through the winter months, and I think that needs to be clear to the residents of this county, because I believe there's a lot of misconception there. This funding is needed to ensure that we can run this warming center. That is strictly all this is. This is not a shelter. They are not eating here. It is to keep these citizens warm through the night and get them out the door the next morning so that we don't have any more deaths, because it's already happened in our county in the last month. This is a very personal matter for me, as I feel like it is for a lot of other people. I've been out. I've been to the shelter nightly. I have been there advocating for these people. I know I haven't made my face well known around here, but I would love to continue to do that, because there is things that I believe county, city, multi-county, we could come together and truly make this better. I know there's bad blood in the past with past shelters and situations, but who the entity that is running this truly helps these people in this community. They are the ones providing food for them daily. If they need medications, they need trips somewhere. These are the people that are figuring this out. This isn't, none of y'all are figuring this out. This is people from different churches that are around. We take weeks for each church here to provide an intake and see what these residents, because they are, even though they do not have a place to go, they are residents of Newton County. We're not bringing in additional people to this county. We are trying to house and keep the people alive that are already here, not additional people. And if they come, doesn't God call us to help all people anyways? We just need to show some compassion and put this out there for what this is. This is not a county or city-ran warming center. This is all of your individual communities inside of Newton County have got together, and we are making this work, but it would work a lot more efficiently if we didn't have to worry where that additional funding could come from, to ensure that at least through these cold months, we don't have to have somebody else die on the side of the street. That's all I have to say. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Hello, Elena Sanders. I actually wasn't going to speak today, so I am speaking on behalf of the county manager's report. This was brought up about 2 years ago to the county attorney, and by Open Records Act, and I know you're new here, the county manager and the county chair is supposed to list every item that they're supposed to speak on. So if the citizens have no idea what you're speaking on, then how are you saying that they are not supposed to speak today if it's not listed? By open records law, you're supposed to list every item that you're going to speak on. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Denise Williams, Newton County resident. I'm speaking on item number 11. That was item number 7 that was tabled for the women's shelter. I spoke about this at the last meeting. I'm back up here to speak about it again. I want to be real clear. It is needed. The women's shelter is needed, but my problem was who was running the women's shelter. Last year, repairs of the breach was running that women's shelter, and it was not being ran right. So I just want to be clear about, we do need it, but we need to know who's running it, because it was not being ran right. And like I said last time, and I put it on record again, the results of that homeless shelter, when they abruptly put those people out at 4 o'clock in the morning and it was cold, raining, and they had nowhere to go, I'm still housing a young lady right now from January to now, and she had mental issues.
Thank you.
Barbara Morgan, East Street, Covington, Georgia. I'm speaking about item 11 on the agenda, wherein the sheriff will be asking for 8 new positions and $400,000 in unbudgeted money. I'm very concerned that there be really rigorous consideration of the reason for this kind of request.
Ms. Morgan, that actual item was removed.
Oh, excuse me.
That's okay. We removed items 11 and 15, so we won't be discussing item 11 tonight.
Thank you so much. I apologize that I did not keep up with my notes.
You're very welcome, no problem. Anyone else that would like to speak about an agenda topics only? All right, if we have no one else speaking on agenda topics only, the next item on our agenda is reports from the chairman. Our interim chairman is out tonight, and the vice chair, we don't have any reports at all. Item number 6, reports from the county manager. Mr. Brown.
Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. I have nothing to report.
Thank you. All right, the next item on our agenda is unfinished business, item number 7. This item was tabled from November 4, 2025 meeting. It is a discussion and consideration of establishment of funds for a warming shelter in collaboration with the City of Covington, with project cost not exceeding $15,000. So is there a motion? Call for a motion tonight.
I think last time I filed a motion and with amendment, but like I say, we do have homeless people. I know for a fact I've seen quite a few living in the woods in off 142 area. So we do need a warming shelter, and not just that area. I mean, it's throughout the whole county. We have people that's living out on the streets and in the woods. And me myself, I hate to see that. So I hear anything of such. So I'm gonna put that motion back out there to with the fact that we have done some other research on it, on this warming center. So I'm off that motion to move forward.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve. Is there a second? Second. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the last time we had a pretty exhaustive discussion and even citizen comments about this very subject. And I know myself, not just myself, some of the other commissioners I know have been to this warming shelter. I went, I think, 2 days after the last meeting, and the renovations were underway. I now understand I think I understand who owns the building and who was paying for the renovations. And the 15 grand we're talking about here tonight goes toward operations of the warming center. Since the renovation, I believe the renovations were completed as of last week. And if I'm not mistaken, if I read the email correctly, the use began last weekend, maybe. So with some of the cooler temperatures, the shelter is in use now. So I will be supporting the move of Newton County to provide these funds for that warming shelter. I think, there was a misconception after the last meeting, especially with all the discussion. I don't think the county ever intended not to fund it. We have an obligation to the taxpayer to make sure that those funds are used wisely, used like they're supposed to be used, and with some diligence. So we had to do some due diligence to understand where these funds would be used, and I'm satisfied that they would be used for the proper reasons to house overnight as a warming shelter. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Commissioner Henderson? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see your hand, Commissioner Long. Go ahead.
That's okay. Thank you. I think that to piggyback off what Stan said, Commissioner Edwards said, I wanted everybody to know that I was not familiar with the shelter last year. We did have some comments about the shelter. I immediately went the very next morning to the shelter to take a look at it. It was not ready. It was not something that somebody could stay in or be habitable, and took pictures and sent them to our county manager. He also went over there, several other commissioners went over there. It's our job to make sure if we're spending money that we're spending it right. It's not to say no to something, but I'm not gonna sit up here and vote for something that I know nothing about, that I have not seen with my own eyes and do not understand. I ask a lot of questions because this is your money and my money we're spending. So I wanna make sure that we spend it correctly and do the best impact for this community that we can. I totally am in agreement with this. I also want to see us get out and work together, just like the young lady said, as community leaders, and raise funds for this particular project and help people. I mean, I've had people negative today write back to me and say, I'm not helping anything with that. That's crazy. Don't be ugly. Don't be mean. Help. This is something that I did not experience. I didn't know a lot about it. I talked to Commissioner Cooper last night and asked him, did he think citizens from the county were using this also? And he said, yes, as his time as a police officer, he's taken people to the warming shelters himself. So he and I had a long discussion about it, and he, told me it is warranted. I recently had a homeless person in my parking lot of my business. It was crazy. I mean, it kind of freaked me out. But you know what? The people need help, and I don't mind helping them any way I can. I'm going to pledge money, and I'm even going to go over there and volunteer my time to help. So it's not that the county ever said that they were not going to participate. It's just we're not doing a good job if we're not telling you guys that we know 100% of what we're doing with your money.
Thank you, Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. C. Well, first of all, the shelter is located in District 4, and it's some property that I am very familiar with. And just to stand, I also know the owner of this particular piece of properties. And I think, the people themselves, they don't care who property is. They're just trying to find somewhere warm to sleep for a night. I was unaware, and typically I'd be on it when it comes to in District 4. I noticed someone had passed in the woods, and that breaks my heart because of the simple fact is that maybe if we could have got together sooner, then it may not have happened, but those I believe is God's will. Now, what I do know is that we need more than just that little shelter, and I agree with the ladies came up and said. We also need to know who's managing the shelter. And I know it's going to take more than $30,000 to manage the shelter. I also know that there are people going to need something to eat, and they shouldn't be put out at 4 o'clock in the morning. And it's cold all night. Then you put them out at 4 o'clock in the morning. Then they have to go back to the woods or wherever they might be. Maybe back to Commissioner Long parking lot, or maybe back behind the old Kroger or somewhere. But I think this is a problem that we're having. But not so much a problem. It's a need that we have in here. And people bring them here. People bring folks to Newton County to go into the shelters, what we have. Go into the homeless shelter, go into the woman shelter. They bring them here for that. And so we just got to all rally together and try to help some people who are in need, especially around Christmas time. And Christmas time is a time for giving. We need to give, help more, and just do what we believe that Jesus wants us to do. Thank you, Ms. C.
Thank you. I had a question I wanted to ask our county manager. I know it was stated by a resident that they're not supposed to be eating at the actual shelter. So I want to make sure, have we had an opportunity to look at the contract that was set up for this particular shelter through the city of Covington? And does that contract state that if they're staying at the warming shelter, they should be eating there, or they have to go somewhere else to find their food, as well as are they able or supposed to be able to take showers at this location, or are they supposed to go somewhere else to take showers? So I think that was a question that was posed, as well as what is the capacity? Do we know how many people we can actually serve out of this particular facility, and as well, who's running the shelter? I think those are some questions that our residents would like for us to know, and I don't know if you know the answer to these questions at this point, or if that's something that we need to find out.
Absolutely. The purveyor or the warming shelter will be Repairs of the Breach. They will be running the nightly operations for the center. They will, from time to time, provide light meals and snacks, for the individuals who are escaping the cold through this warming shelter. I did not see that they could not eat or anything of that nature. They will try with other partnerships from local churches, local community food pantries, things of that nature, to provide foods on a time-to-time basis while it is open. When I went through the location and just took a walk around and talked to, I forgot the young lady's name, Miss Tanya. I forget her last name.
Yes, that's right.
But I talked to her. She gave me a walkthrough. At the completion of it, that was actually the first night it was open for operation. There are 4 showers, 2 upstairs, 2 downstairs. Women and children will be located upstairs. Men will be located downstairs. There are no showers. But they will try to do their best to help facilitate other needs that they possibly could have during that time that they're, while they're there. But that's pretty much the extent, is to try to give them a place to get out the cold during that time frame.
Do we know what the capacity of this facility is yet? Like how many we can serve?
I think it's 35 total, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Let me go back and verify that for you.
Okay. So 35 total. And you said there are showers, or they are not showers?
There are not showers.
There are no
from
showers. What
I can see from the restrooms, there are not showers.
Okay. I had another question while I think about it. If someone else has something. Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Long.
I did read the entire document that the city of Covington did provide us that had all the detailed information about the shelter. And I believe, and I'm trying to find it now and I can't find it that fast, but there was something that stated that they would be fed down the street or something. I don't know if there's some rule about not feeding them on the site. I don't understand why that would be a rule, but it did have all the provisions, the times, everything. Nothing about 4 o'clock in the morning of putting anybody out. It was the next morning at 8:30 in the morning. And they open at like 5:30 in the afternoon, and then they will stay longer if the day is lower than a certain degrees. I mean, it was very detailed. And I think as commissioners, we will monitor that to make sure that we are, happy with what we see there. And I think that's important. It's right down the street from my office, and I plan on going by and checking to make sure that people are being treated humanly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to add too. If we can have regular monitoring to kind of make sure that, these residents that we do care about are being taken care of properly, because we don't want what happened last year to happen again this year. And so I think we're going to have to do our best to keep our hands on the pulse of this particular shelter if it is approved. I'm sorry, go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you. I do know that there are showers that repairs of the breach, where they give the clothes and the beds away, where they can go in there and maybe, I know a bathroom and shower, maybe just one shower, I'm not sure. And I know that Miss Shirley and her daughter or her niece watches over the building, and they comes up and may leave the warming shelter, then comes back up to the repairs of the breach, and where they can get clothes and et cetera in it, and possibly even get food, because I've been there a few times when they were feeding them. And I do know that people do bring food for them. I know one particular time, Commissioner Sanders, she had came, they had was like a barbecue or something to eat, her and Miss Denise. And myself, I have also, it was during the summertime, have had food taken there or fixed there for the people who live there, because we wanted them to eat. And we would go out and do similar to or the same thing at the warming shelter. But we do need a shelter. I mean, we need a shelter. We do need a place. And we do need, and if you're going to have women in men's halls there, you're going to need some security. It's the bottom line. Because you got people with mental illness, and we know about mental illness. And so it's going to be more than just, I think, $15,000. And I had looked in this a while back, 3 years back. Probably done changed now. But it's the county responsibility to have a shelter. It's not the city's, because we are the government that's supposed to have our hands outreach to help our citizens. And so that's why I always talked about, I'm closing, I'm shutting up, Mr. Chairman. That's why I always said that if our governments could work together, how much more could we do for our citizens? Thank you.
No problem. I think I missed that contract, so I need to go back and review that again, because I don't remember seeing it in my email. Security. Is that addressed in the contract? They will have security, as well as if they are getting food and showers, say at other shelters, are some of these monies going to be donated to those other shelters to kind of help them as they're giving food and showers, because they aren't able to provide this at the current warming shelter? So I don't know if that was in the contract as well. Okay.
So from what I'm seeing, they have some incidentals, so that could possibly, I can, when I follow back up with, Ms. Tanya, I can kind of go through some of these things and just do regular check-ins, then report back to the board, because I'm like the indication is there possibly could be some additional funds that may be needed depending on the weather. So continually check in with her and just make sure I report back to the board on a routine basis. But to answer your other question, it's a capacity of 40.
Okay. And you said it does have security, correct? We do have that in the contract. Okay. Because I know that was an issue I was told last year, that they didn't have security, that wasn't a part of the contract. So we do want to make sure, that was a great point that Commissioner Henderson brought up. We want to make sure that they do have security as well.
That is correct. Security is part of their RFP request from the city that they shared with us as well.
Excellent. Commissioner Long.
And just to be clear, that it does cost more than $15,000 to run this, but the faith community has stepped up, and there's a lot of donations there. We are getting calls left and right from people that want to donate monetary, supplies, all kinds of things. I'm pretty guarded about where you tell people the centers are, because you don't want people just going over there dropping things off, because there is some privacy for the people that are there too. So we want to make sure that we have a donation center that people can drop off to and things like that, and get that information out on our website.
Excellent. So we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the $15,000 for the warming center. All in favor? All right, that motion passes 5-0. We have about, actually, right on time. And so now we're going to move, it is 7:30 p.m. And so we're going to move into our zoning for today. So I'm going to ask Ms. Sheena if she can come up, and we'll go ahead and get started with our zoning portion of our meeting. And you are free to go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Good
You're
evening, Mr. Vice Chair and members of the board. We have only 5 petitions this evening. The first petition today is a future land use map amendment for 91 and 100 Edgefield Lane. The tax ID numbers are 0043, 048A, and 043057. And the parcel sizes are 0.55 and 0.51 acres respectively. There's currently no future land use map amendment. These 2 parcels were recently de-annexed from the city, and because they're coming back into the county, there is no zoning or future land use map attributed to them. So we do have to do that process. So we are proposing to go to HDR, which is high density residential, which is similar to the subdivision it's in, the neighborhood it's in. They are multifamily or townhouses out there. And again, there's no current zoning. The proposed zoning will be multifamily RMF. Character area is low density rural residential, which is supports the proposed flume and the zoning. So the watershed is the Bear Creek. It's in Commissioner District 4. Current owner is Stanley's Properties LLC. Petitioner is Development Services. And the proposed user intent is to designate a future land use to properties formerly in the city of Covington. Just a brief history. In July of 2025, the BOC approved the de-annexation request from the city of Covington. In August of 2025, the city of Covington, they approved the annexation request on their end for these 2 parcels. On 10/28, it was scheduled to go before the PC. However, that meeting was canceled. And on 12/1, the Planning Commission recommended approval for FLU 25-000008 by a vote of 4-0, and there was no public opposition. So in conclusion, the subject properties were de-annexed into unincorporated Newton County and must be assigned a county future land use designation and zoning. And the first step in the process to assign the future land use. And given the current zoning designations in the area, staff is of the opinion that the future land use amendment to HDR is appropriate in this area. And with this being a flume amendment, there are no conditions of zoning, as this is just a planning tool for future requests. And should the request be approved, a petition filed for rezoning, and the conditions of zoning would be applicable at the rezoning request. So this is the surveys that are on file for this property. So these are the 2 parcels with the stars. Those are the ones that were in the city, and they're now back in the county through the de-annexation process. And as you can see, there is no zoning attributed to it, so we're going to the same RMF zoning that is in here once the flume is approved. So our flume is high density residential for the other buildings in the subdivision, so we're just mirroring the same thing for these 2 parcels, which is the HDR flume. So this is the map we're looking to amend today. This is in the Yellow River watershed, Commissioner District 4. The live work character area will be incorporated into that once it comes back into the county. So these are the 2 buildings we're looking at, 91 Edgefield Lane. And you can see they are multifamily structures, and 100 Edgefield Lane. Oh, And that is the end of the presentation. If there are any questions, if not, Mr. Vice Chair, this is a public hearing.
All right, thank you, Ms. Applewhite. This is a public hearing, and so with our public hearing, would like to ask those who are in favor of this case to actually come. You actually have 10 minutes to state being in favor of this particular case. Do we have anyone here that is in favor at all? We have no one here that's in favor. All right, since we don't have anyone here in favor, we also allow those who oppose this particular zoning case, we allow them 10 minutes as well to come up and express your opposition of this particular case. Do we have anyone that would like to speak in opposition of this particular case? All right, since we have no one in opposition, I will turn it back over to you, Ms. Applewhite, and we will proceed with this particular case. And this is in District 4. And so, Commissioner Henderson, I'll give it to you.
Thank you. Ms. Applewhite, before I make the motion, is there no way I can DNA the property where I live so I can pay one tax instead of two? Because
I don't know if I have the answer
taxes
to that.
are killing me. But anyway, I'd like to make a motion to approve what Ms. Applewhite has said.
All right, I have a motion. Is there a second? All right, any discussion at all? All right, all those in favor? All right, that passes 5-0.
Okay, Mr. Vice Chair, our next zoning petition this evening, it is a conditional use permit. It is CUP 25-000013. There is a companion case from 2022, also a conditional use permit, which is CUP 22-000001. So the proposed use or the intent is the continued operation of the existing tree service and the sawmill business. It is located at 55 Potts Lane on 34.28 acres. Tax ID is 0072011A. The future land use is agricultural forestry. Current zoning is A, agricultural and highway commercial. The character area is low density rural residential, which supports the flume and the zoning. Our watershed is the Yellow and Alcovey River. This is located in Commissioner District 1, and our owner and petitioner today is Kenneth Batchelor Jr. Just a brief history. January of 2022, the Planning Commission recommended approval of FLU 21 00005, which was to amend the future land use map from residential to agricultural forestry. And in February of 2022, the Board of Commissioners approved that flume amendment. In March of 2022, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the rezoning petition, REZ 22 00005, as well as a conditional use permit CUP 22-000001, which was to rezone the property to from agricultural residential to agricultural, and to allow the operation of the tree service and the sawmill business. And in April of 2022, the Board of Commissioners approved both the rezoning and the conditional use permit. There was a condition in that approval, which was condition 1B, and this is from the conditional use permit 2022-000001, which limited the conditional use permit to 2 years and required a new conditional use permit to continue the operation of the tree service and the sawmill business. And the business has continued to be in operation past this 2-year deadline. So that's why we're here today, for them to fulfill this particular condition. The October 28th meeting of this year for the Planning Commission was canceled, but it was heard yesterday on 12/1, and the Planning Commission recommended approval of the current CUP, CUP 25-000013, by a vote of 0, and there was no public opposition. So the current CUP today is to allow them to continue with the sawmill business that they have out there. Just a brief side plan analysis. So this 34.28 acres. It's on the south side of Potts Lane and the west side of Highway 36. So you have the highway here and Potts Lane. It is surrounded by scattered residential homes with agricultural uses and nearby commercial properties. And on the actual property itself, there is an existing home and pool. And in the center area, this is these buildings here, and I'll show you a close-up in a second. And there's a detached residential garage in construction. And to the northeast of the property, we have a warehouse as well as another building for equipment and lumber storage. The sawmill office and the parking area is also located there. And there's going to be a proposed warehouse or barn which will be used for tractor and equipment storage. And there's also a cemetery to the north and a pond to the south. So this is a close-up of what we were looking at. So we've got the home in the center here. We've got the pond. This is the sawmill operation up here to the northeast, and we've got the cemetery along Potts Lane here. This parcel doesn't belong to this here. So these are just side pictures of what is currently existing, with views from the entrance as well as from Highway 36. This is the sawmill, the office, and the parking area currently on the property. This is the metal building that we have there in the side plan. We also have the warehouse building. Just different views of it on the back and the front. This is the proposed structure that they're hoping to add, but that won't be done unless this process is approved. So the applicable section would be section 510655 for tree service and section 510560 for sawmill planing mill. These are included in your packet, so I won't read through them unless there are any questions. And in conclusion, the subject property is currently being used as single-family residential and to operate the existing tree service and the sawmill business. The business is allowed in the agricultural zoning district with an approved conditional use permit. And the purpose of this request is to allow the existing business to continue the operation. Per the previous conditional use permit from 2022, it was only valid for 2 years. Thus, the property and the business, they're currently out of compliance and must be corrected. So the staff recommends approval of this request. And our recommended conditions: should the petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved for a conditional use permit for the tree service sawmill business, conditional and subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and the offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. 1, that the owner's agreement to abide by the following: A, maintain an active business license for the tree service and the sawmill business. B, the conditional use permit shall be valid for as long as the business is in operation. And C, no building or construction allowed on the property without applicable permits. And all other conditions from the previous CUP will remain in place. So we have a survey here. Aerial view of the property. This is the current zoning, it's agricultural. The flume is agricultural forestry. So it has 2 watersheds, just a sliver of the Alcove to the north. This is Commissioner District 1. And that is the end of this one. If there are any questions for staff. If not, Mr. Vice Chair, this is also a public hearing.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Applewhite. Since this is a public hearing, once again, we allow those who are in favor 10 minutes to come and speak in favor of this particular case. Do we have anyone here that would like to come up and speak in favor of this particular case?
Good evening, Commissioners. How are y'all doing tonight?
Doing well.
My name's Kenny Batchelor. I live at 55 Potts Lane. I'm here to renew my conditional use permit. I didn't realize it had a 2-year sunset clause. If anybody's got any questions about my business, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right. All right, go ahead, Commissioner Long.
Have we not already heard from you? Have you not been up here?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking I'm having a deja vu moment, and I know that everything that's on this list tonight, we have already heard some of these things. So is he having to come back? How many times is he having to come back to us?
For this particular use, this should be the last time.
I know, but he came, we had the same scenario already this year, with your permit, right? Correct, sir? Did we have this?
Did you want to come back up, Ms. Applewhite?
I'm confused of why we're hearing these again. Does everybody else remember hearing this?
I was here last night, and then there was another meeting a month or so ago, and they canceled. It got
Okay,
canceled.
but we didn't hear you before that?
Yes, Mr. Bachelor has been here before for his other petitions. He's had a flume change and a rezoning as well as a conditional use permit. So it is very possible that the board has heard him before.
Poor man, I'm sorry. All right, that was my question, because I knew I had heard it before.
Thank you, Commissioner Long. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of this particular case? If not, we also allow 10 minutes for those who oppose this. So we want to give an opportunity for anyone who'd like to come up to oppose this particular case at this time. All right, since there is no one here to oppose, this is in District 1, so I will give it over to Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. First, let me say, in that cemetery that was pictured on the screen a few minutes ago, my great-great-great-grandparents are buried there, just for the future trivia question that might rise. Anyway, motion to approve conditional use permit CUP 25-000013 with staff recommendations.
Thank you. Is there a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All right, if not, all in favor? All right, that case passes 5-0. All right, we proceed with the next one.
Our next petition this evening is a rezoning case. It is REZ 25-000004. The companion case was heard before the board already, which is the Future Land Use Amendment, FLU 25-000007. This is located at 1286 Woodlawn Road, tax ID 0116003. It's on 4.67 acres. The future land use map is rural residential. The existing zoning is agricultural. And the proposed zoning is rural estate. The character area is low-density rural residential, which is supported by the flume proposed zoning. The watershed is the Bear Creek. This is located in Commissioner District 1, and the current owner, Robert N. K. Marks. Petitioner is Tucker Marks. And the proposed use and intent is to rezone the property from A to rural estate to subdivide for a family conveyance. And there's a brief history. In August of this year, the Planning Commission recommended approval of the future land use amendment from AF to rural residential. And in September of this year, the BOC approved the flume amendment. The Planning Commission meeting in October was canceled, so it was heard yesterday on 12/1, where the Planning Commission recommended approval of this current rezoning by a vote of 4-0, and there was no public opposition. And here's a brief site plan analysis. The site plan, the site is located to the east of Woodlawn Road, with additional frontage on Marks Road as well. It is surrounded by scattered single-family homes. There's an existing home, barn, and pool on the property. The total acreage is 4.67, which is going to be split into 2 tracts. So tract 1, which is this one here, and I'll show you a close-up in the next slide. The 3.3 acres, there's an existing home, barn, and a pool, which will stay. Tract 2 is the 1.41 acres, which will be combined with tract 3 for the family conveyance. And the proposed plans meet all the minimum building setbacks per the UDO. So this is just a breakdown. We have tract 1. They're removing 1.4 acres from tract 1 and combining it with tract 3 over here. And the reason why they have to rezone is because of the acreage. In the A zoning, the minimum is 10 acres, so they have to rezone it to the smaller acreage requirement, which is a rural estate. So staff is of the opinion that the proposed rezoning to rural estate may be appropriate based on the similar zonings and uses in the nearby area. And the rezoning will be consistent with the policies and the intent of the comprehensive plan. Recommended conditions. Should this petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved rural estate, conditional and subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. 1, The owner's agreement to the following: A, submit a minor plat subdividing parcel 0116003 into 2 tracts, tract 1 and 2, as shown on the concept plan submitted back in June of this year, and combining tract 2 with parcel 0116004E. B, submit appropriate plans and plats to be reviewed and approved by Development Services, Public Works, Newton County Fire Services, the Water Authority, Georgia Soil and Water Commission, and GDOT as applicable. So this is the current area. So it's currently 1 parcel here, and again, this little triangle is what they're subdividing out and combining it with this parcel. And here, so you see, here, so it's going to be all going to be this rural estate light green colors. We have our Flume Rural Residential, which is currently in place. This is in the Bear Creek watershed, currently Commissioner District 1. The character area, low density rural residential. And these are just site photos. Yeah. And then I said this, Mr. Vice Chair, this is also a public hearing, and I believe the applicant is present. And if there are no questions for staff. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Ms. Applewhite. And you said this is a public hearing, correct? All right, at this time, we're going to ask those who are in favor, if there's anyone in favor of this case, if you can come at this time. We allow 10 minutes for you to speak in favor of this case. All right, since there is none in favor, we also allow 10 minutes for those who oppose this particular case. If there's anyone that's here that would like to oppose this case, feel free to come at this time. All right, doesn't look like we have anyone to oppose. This is also in District 1, so on you, Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. But let me say up front, for the benefit of the commissioners, this is 1.4 acres, but it's being added to a larger parcel because when the relative gave or sold the original parcel, it was unknown that part of East Bear Creek actually bubbled out of the ground on part of that property and was unbuildable. So they want to build a house with this piece of property. So now the family member is either giving or selling another 1.4 acres so they can situate their house appropriately on the acreage. So that's why it's divvied up that way. And Mr. Applewhite, correct me if I'm wrong with the way I stated that.
Yes, sir. There is floodplain and wetlands area out there from Bear Creek.
Okay, thank you. But with that, I would like to make a motion to approve REZ 25000004 with staff recommendations.
Thank you. Is there a second? All right, I have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All right, all in favor? All right, that passes 5-0. All right, go ahead with the next case.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Our next petition this evening is also a rezoning case. It's REZ 25-000006. The companion case, which was a flume, was previously approved by the board. It's FLU 25-000006. Location is 115 Snapping Shoals Road, tax ID 0019010. Parcel is 10.19 acres. The future land use map is industrial and parks, recreation, conservation. The existing zoning is agricultural, residential, and M2 heavy industrial. Proposed zoning is heavy industrial, just to make the entire parcel flow as one. Character areas, emergent suburban and conservation and recreation area. Watershed is the South River. This is located in Commissioner District 1. Current owner is Hoke and Mike Thomas. Petitioner Hoke Thomas, and he's represented by John Nix. So the proposed use and intent is to rezone the AR zoning portion of this property to M2 to make the zoning consistent with the M2 use on the property. And the proposal will also help to establish a solid waste transfer station at the adjacent property to 145 Snapping Shoals Road. Just a brief history. In June of this year, a land disturbance permit was issued for the dump and delivery business located at 145 Snapping Shoals Road, which is across the road. In August, the Planning Commission recommended denial of the Flume case to amend the future land use from residential to heavy industrial by a vote of 4-0 due to concerns about the necessity of industrial uses in the area. There was no opposition from the public. In September, the Board of Commissioners, however, approved that flume. And in October of this year, the Planning Commission meeting was canceled, which this rezoning case was to be heard. So it was heard yesterday at the Planning Commission meeting, and they recommended approval of this rezoning by a vote of 4-0, and there was no public opposition. Just a brief breakdown of the site plan. So the subject site is located southeast of Snapping Shoals Road. The current zonings are there's commercial and industrial zonings along this road currently. There's existing electric power utility maintenance business, the Thomas Brothers Hydro Inc. on the property that we are considering. The site plan shown is for the property adjacent, which is 145 Snapping Shoals Road, where they intend to have the waste transfer station as well as a dump and delivery business. And the reason that they are rezoning the property opposite is so they can allow to have that business here. They're proposing to have a metal building on there and a gravel parking area as well as trailers. There's one entrance and one exit. And the waste transfer station will meet all the setbacks for the UDO once the review is complete. So this is the breakdown of the waste transfer station that they're proposing to put. So we're gonna have the trailer here, the metal building. This area here that is hatched is a gravel parking area, and of course you have your entrance and exit. And the 115 that we're rezoning is opposite across the road over here. The applicable section is section 510-590 for solid waste transfer station. This is included in your packet, so I won't read through it. So in conclusion, staff is of the opinion that this rezoning petition is appropriate. The subject site is duly zoned AR and heavy industrial. In order to make the property zoning district consistent, the AR zoning portion of the property will have to be rezoned. Additionally, a solid waste transfer station is proposed to be developed across the road at 145 Snapping Shoals Road. Since section 510-590B states that the use cannot be located adjacent to or across the street from any property that is zoned or used for residential, this also gives us support for the rezoning petition. Recommended conditions. Should the petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved M2 heavy industrial, conditional and subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. So where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. 1, to the owner's agreement to abide by the following. A, prior to any new uses, all permits shall be obtained as applicable. B, must obtain and maintain a business license as applicable. Recommended conditions, so the following uses will be prohibited: adult entertainment, alcohol, beverage plant, distillery, antenna, satellite TV, asphalt plant, auto auction, auto recovery, auto major and minor repair, building material yard, chemical plant, concrete or masonry plant, dry cleaning, institutional, explosive plant storage, go-kart facility, industrial heavy, landfill, manufacturing, heavy outdoor, processing plant for hazardous materials, telecommunication structure, truck stop, and truck terminal or dispatch center or parking. So this is the parcel that we are considering today. There's already an existing hydro business here. As you can see, it's dually zoned, so the light gray area is the industrial portion, and this is the residential portion. It's the only residential portion on the entire Snapping Shoals Road here. Everything else is commercial or heavy industrial already. The flume was approved to be industrial, so everything is now in purple, and then we kept the PRC, which is the stream, in the green. The watershed is South River, located in Commissioner District 1. Character areas are emerging suburban and conservation recreation. This is an existing survey, and you see the parcel is here with a star on it. And these are side photos. So the 115 Snapping Shoals is the undeveloped portion over here. And that is the hydro plant portion in the back there. And then you have the Snapping 145 over here. This is the 145 Snapping Shoals. They currently have their LDP issued to start clearing and grading for their dump and delivery business. So that's why you're seeing this work being done. And that is the end of this. If there are any questions, if not, Mr. Vice Chair, this is also a public hearing, and I believe the applicant is here.
All right, thank you. At this time, I'm sorry.
Mr. Vice Chair, is it appropriate to ask a question now, or?
I would like to wait until we have discussion
Thank
before
you.
we can do that. If we have anyone that is in favor, we'd like to have them to come at this particular time. Anyone that is in favor of this particular case?
Good evening, Chair, members of the board.
Good
My
evening.
name's John Nix, 945 Bank Street. I'm representing Mr. Thomas on this application, which is a companion to the second application that will be before you. We've been here before. We were here for the flume. We were able to present our case before you 2 months ago. I know you have a very lengthy agenda, so I'm going to make one comment and just stand for questions. One of the things we realized coming out of the Planning Commission the first time was they were very concerned about the uses, and that's why we proposed and worked with staff on a list of prohibited uses for the M2. And I think that's why when we went through for our zoning last night, they approved us because we came up with that list. Nothing else has really changed except after reading Ms. Applewaite's list and my list for about the 15th time, I realized that we've got industrial heavy as a prohibited use. The Thomases, which have been operating at the facility there for decades, have been working under heavy industrial use, and I'm concerned that if I don't have that allowed use, since historically that's how they've operated, I'd like to consider whether staff would allow and you would consider removing heavy industrial from the prohibited list so they can continue to engage in their, I always have to read it, hydroelectric generator repair business. So that's the only request I would make as far as a change to the conditions, is just take that off the prohibited list. And I'll just stand for questions.
We'd like to actually ask those that oppose come first, and then at that time we'll call you back for discussion. So at this time, we'd like to have anyone that opposes this particular case to come at this time. We also allow you 10 minutes to state your reasoning for our position. If there is anyone that would like to oppose, you can come at this particular time.
Maya Allen Neely, Newton County, and I'm not really opposing. I think I have a question. You're saying that this is a transfer station and it's going to be near M2 residential. Am I understanding that correctly? Transfer station, is that like a dumping site? What type of transfer station is it?
Yes, you're allowed to go ahead and answer that question. Thank you.
Actually, the properties that are being considered by y'all are not going to be the location of the transfer station. It's going to be located across the street. Of course, the request to have a transfer station is going to require this AR residential zoning to go away. In response to your question, it's going to be a transfer station. It's going to be housed in that building that's shown on the plat. And it's not going to handle household trash. It's only going to handle demolition and salvage trash, demolition and construction trash, well, materials. No household trash, no hazardous waste, no batteries, nothing like that. The company that is Apex that owns this property and the donut hole across the street is currently in the haul-off container, the big haul-off bins. They were in the they're in the construction business as well, so they're familiar with it. They know there's a need in this area for the kind of thing they're looking at, which is demolition and construction trash, and that's why they're gearing the business for that limited use on the site.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else that is in opposition? All right. Since we have no one else in opposition, I will give this to Commissioner Edwards for your motion. You are hot tonight, sir.
first of all, I'm going to make a motion for, hopefully a second, for discussion and questions first. Is that okay?
Yes.
So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve REZ 25000006 with staff recommendations.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Mr. Vice Chair, just one moment. Would that be with considering the removal of that heavy industrial prohibited use?
That's depending on the answer to some questions, a question I'm going to have. So without the removal of that as of this moment.
Okay.
I could amend that later, correct?
Yes,
Mr.
you
Chair?
can.
Okay.
So do we have a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. Now it's time for discussion. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So the mention of a hydroelectric generator repair business that's being carried out on the property today. Is that correct?
That is my understanding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's being carried out today in its current zoning. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And the current zoning is heavy industrial.
That is correct.
Okay. So, well, that answers, I got that. So let me move on to this next question. So if the waste transfer station is not for this exact piece of property, why do we have that in the narrative? I mean, I was kind of under the impression that the waste transfer station was here, and well, answer that question first. So, I mean.
So the waste transfer station is going to be in this property here. And we are rezoning this green area on this side here. So in order for them to have the waste transfer station here, they can't have it opposite residential zoning. So that's why we're now rezoning this parcel. And since half of the parcel is already M2, to make the zoning consistent, we propose an M2 zoning for the remainder of it, the green part.
That makes sense. So, and that, I think you just answered my last question, because it had to do with property as I thought it was being transitioned to be able to house a transfer station, is why couldn't this be done under conditional use permit? And the reason for that question would be that way it would expire with the current owner, right? If it was a conditional use, but it can't be if we're transitioning this piece of property from residential to M2 for the purpose of having a transfer station on adjacent property. I understand. So, so I would like to amend my motion if I could, Mr. Vice Chair.
Yes, you can go ahead and amend your motion.
I'd like to amend my motion to include the use of heavy industrial for the sole purpose of the hydroelectric generator repair business only, and other staff recommendations, and with the agreed upon stipulations that the gentleman spoke of earlier as well, that got it past the Planning and Zoning Board last night. Does that make sense? Did I confuse everybody?
No, and we agree to that stipulation as long as the Thomases can continue that business that they've been operating. That was what I was concerned about.
Legal did I state that well enough, or should I say it again?
I think repetition is always helpful for clarity, so if you want to go and state it again, it's fine.
I'd like to make a motion this time to approve REZ 25000006 with the inclusion of heavy industrial for the purpose only of the hydroelectric generator repair business, the other staff recommendations, and the additional stipulations as agreed upon by Planning and Zoning and the applicant.
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? All right, so we have an amended motion and a second. All right, so all in favor? All right, that passes 5-0. All right, you can move forward with the last case.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So this case is a companion case to the previous one. It is the property right adjacent to the last one. It's REZ 25-000007. It has a companion case of FLU 25-000005. It is located at 140 Snapping Shoals Road, tax ID 0019015. It is on 1.32 acres. The future land use map was already approved to be industrial. The existing zoning is agricultural residential, and the proposed zoning is heavy industrial. The character area is emerging suburban and conservation recreation. It's in the South River watershed in Commissioner District 1. The current owner is ARK Asset Group, LLC, and the petitioner is ARK Asset Group, LLC, represented by Mr. John Nix. And the proposed use and intent is to rezone to M2 to establish a transfer station across the road at 145 Snapping Shoals Road. And again, the history is similar to for the companion case, except that they had a demolition permit in March of 2024 to remove the single-family residence that was there. It was just remnants of it. In June, land disturbance permit was issued for the dump and delivery business located at 145 Snapping Shoals Road. In August of this year, the Planning Commission denied the companion case for the flume, FLU 25-000005, which was to amend the future land use from residential to heavy industrial. And they had concerns at that time about the necessity of the industrial uses in the area. But there was no opposition from the public. In September, the BOC, however, approved that flume to go to heavy industrial. In August of this year, the Planning Commission meeting was canceled, and that meeting was held last night on 12/1. And the Planning Commission recommended approval of the current rezoning by a vote of 4-0, and there was no public opposition to this. And the site plan is similar. I won't go through every single thing again. It's surrounded by commercial and industrial zonings on Snapping Shoals Road. And again, the LDP was issued in June of this year for the dump and delivery service. And we have the metal building and the trailer, as well as the entrance and the exit areas on the side plan. And this is a close-up of everything. And this is for the waste transfer station that's being proposed, as well as the dump and delivery business. The applicable section is section 510-590 for a solid waste transfer station, and this is included in your packets, so I won't read through it. And in conclusion, staff is of the opinion that this rezoning petition is appropriate. The applicant's intent is to establish a solid waste transfer station across the road at 145 Snapping Shoals. And section 510-590B states that the use cannot be located adjacent to or across the street from any property that is used or zoned for residential. And the zoning district of the subject property at 140 Snapping Shoals Road will have to be changed. So the proposed rezoning, it'll be to heavy industrial, which will be compatible with the industrial future land use that is already currently there. Recommended conditions: should the petition be approved by the Board of Commissioners, it should be approved M2 heavy industrial, conditional and subject to the owner's agreement to the following enumerated conditions. Where these conditions conflict with the stipulations and the offerings contained in the letter of intent, these conditions shall supersede unless specifically stipulated by the Board of Commissioners. 1, to the owner's agreement to the following. A, prior to any new uses, all permits shall be obtained as applicable. B, must obtain and maintain a business license as applicable. 2, the following conditions will be prohibited. It is the exact same list, and we do have number 14, which was addressed in the companion case, and if the board wishes, we can bring that recommendation forward as well to this case, where would only heavy industrial use that would be allowed would be for the current existing hydro business on the property. So this is the parcel we're looking at. Is now this inner parcel here. Just now we were considering the one behind it. So we have the current zoning, which is AR. And again, over here is where the waste transfer station will be. The current flume is industrial for this parcel as well. Watershed is the South River, located in Commissioner District 1. Character area is emerging suburban and conservation recreation. This is the existing survey showing the parcel here where the star is. And these are photos of the 140 Snapping Shoals Road. And of course, this is the 145 across the road where they're under an LDP for the dump and delivery business. And that's the final slide. If there are any questions for staff, if not, Mr. Vice Chair, this too is a public hearing. And Mr. Nix is our applicant again.
All right, thank you, Ms. Applewhite. This is a public hearing, so at this time, anyone that would like to come and speak in favor, you have 10 minutes to speak in favor of this zoning case. Mr. Nix.
John Nix again, 945 Bank Street. On this particular one, because the director and I are doing this on the fly about the heavy industrial, since I just caught it, we really don't need to change the recommendation at all because the Thomases have never operated on this piece of property, so we don't need the protection. So I would suggest that you just go with staff's recommendations as presented and keep heavy industrial on there without a notation because they've never operated on this particular piece of property. It might simplify it for the record. And I'll stand for questions after someone comes and opposes.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this particular zoning case? If so, please feel free to come at this time. All right, if not, we also allow 10 minutes for anyone who'd like to oppose this particular case. If there's anyone that would like to oppose this case, please feel free to come at this time. Anyone that would like to oppose? All right, we don't have anyone that would like to oppose, and so I will turn this back over to Commissioner Edwards for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So I know Mr. Dix said it's not necessary to insert the qualifier of the hydroelectric generator repair business, but for simplicity reasons, I would like to make a motion to approve REZ 25000007, the same exact stipulations as REZ 250006.
All right, I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? All right, I have a motion and I have a second on the floor. Any additional discussion? All right, all in favor? All right, that passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. That was our last case.
All right, thank you. And so now our zoning cases are closed. So now we're going to go back. We're going to go back to item number 8, which is our consent agenda. And I'd like to call for a motion for our consent agenda.
So move.
And I have a motion. Is there a second? All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, that passes 5-0. All right, the next item on our agenda is new business. The item number 9 is consideration of an ordinance amending Chapter 16, Article 2 of the Code of Ordinances of Newton County, Georgia, to revise Section 16-20. That will be presented by Chief Judge Ken Wynn.
Good evening.
Good evening, Judge.
This is a motion to amend the county ordinance governing locality pay for Superior Court judges and retirement for Superior Court judges. It actually will result in a savings to the county as that legislation, House Bill 85, reduces the obligation or reduces the financial burden for counties supporting the judiciary, shifting that to the state. And so there's a savings for the county on that. And so we're asking the board to make that amendment, make that change.
All right, thank you, Judge Wynn. I'd like to call for a motion. Is there a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. Thank you. How much of a saving might we have?
I'm sorry?
How much of a saving might we have like we have?
Savings would be $64,000 annually and $32,000 in the current budget, beginning January 1st.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I just had a comment. The county attorney's office reviewed the resolution along with the ordinance, and we did have some recommended changes, which I've discussed with Judge Wynn. So I would ask that any motion be subject to the county attorney's edits to the draft ordinance.
Thank you. So I think we had a motion. So can we amend the motion? So I'd like to call for an amendment to the motion.
I would like to amend the motion.
All right, so we have an amended motion. Do we have a second? All right, and we have a second. Any additional discussion? All right, all in favor? All right, that passes 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, item number 10 is the consideration of conversion of drug court positions from temporary grant employees to full-time employees, and that also will be by Chief Judge Wynn.
We have, beginning January 1st, we're going to merge our Veterans Treatment Court, which is operated by or presided over by Judge McCamey, with our drug court. I guess the pool of candidates for Veterans Court is such that we find it to be more cost efficient to merge the Veterans Treatment Court with the drug court, which will eliminate one coordinator position, and that's the coordinator position for the Veterans Treatment Court, which will save the county, I think, about $4,000 is what the county pays toward that position. The rest of that position is funded by a CJCC grant. We do have a coordinator for drug court and for a case manager for drug court, so we have two positions for drug court. What we're asking is that those be converted from temporary grant employees to full-time permanent employees, which will result in an increase to the county budget. I think the net impact on the county budget, current county budget for the remainder of FY26 would be somewhere a little over $24,000. We're asking the reason we're asking the county to do that is so that we can attract qualified candidates. The men that have been in that position since we established the drug court in 2013, our coordinator, Wes Long, helped us get the drug court up and running in 2013. He's a retired probation officer. Didn't need the benefits, didn't need health insurance, and opted out of the retirement. So, and the same with our case manager. And so we are asking that the county will convert those to permanent positions so that we can attract more qualified candidates to include retirement and benefits along with the salary. Both of those positions are funded by the CJCC grant to the tune of about $104,000 annually. There will be a net negative impact on the county budget, and I think for the remainder of the current year, as I say, I think that'll be about $24,000 net negative impact.
All right, thank you, Judge Wynn.
I should say, the case manager is retiring at the end of this year, and the coordinator is retiring around the 1st of March, somewhere thereabouts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'd like to call for a motion. All right, I have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? All right, so I have a motion and I have a second. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Long.
I guess, some of these requests that we get are like reading a lawyer's book. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to fund, or you're asking for another $24,000 for these positions.
Basically to take care of insurance and retirement contributions for full-time employees coming on. Those positions will still be, the majority of those positions will still be funded by a state grant.
So I guess I'm confused. You know, they're funded by state grant, but we're asking the board right now to add, to take on another $24,000 burden to a budget that's not, that the dollars are not there.
Right.
And then these will become full-time positions in our next budget that will be fully funding these jobs. I feel like that I need a little bit more information before I could vote on this tonight. I mean, I may not be speaking for everybody, but that's not what I was getting out of this when I was reading all this information. I wish I probably could have picked up the phone and called you, but I did not. You know, we're just trying to, everybody's asking us for money. Everybody's trying to get something funded. Sure. We're getting hit left and right about it, and we have to be really, really good stewards of the dollar and find out where we're going to pull these dollars from. They just don't magically appear. So it's not saying that, I'm not saying just like we did with the other thing, that I want to feel comfortable, understand where we're pulling this $24,000 from, see if there's some creative way that we can do it. Maybe there's a position not filled that you guys don't have. Maybe there's some kind of adjustment we can do from an accounting side until we get to next year's budget. But, you know, everybody's coming to us wanting more positions and more this and more that. And I hate turning people down, but I also got to be careful how I spend the money, and I got to understand it. And I think that I don't, to sit here and say that we, you know, just give us $24,000 more dollars. I mean, I'm not saying you don't need them. I'm sure you do. But I need to figure out where that's coming from and how that works from a financial standpoint for me.
So Commissioner Long, is that an amended motion to table it, is what you're asking?
I would like to table that and look at this. You know, I know that they're retiring. You got one retiring right away and one, you know, and if we need to do something to help before the end of the year or not, but we also could do it at the first meeting in January. I think we'd still be okay with that with them. But I need to understand where we're getting this $24,000 from. It just doesn't fall out of the sky for me. I need to see the math, and I need to see the chart. I need to see the money line.
And I said an amended motion, but I meant a substitute motion.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'd like to make a substitute motion just to table to get better understanding of these funds, and then revisit this, and maybe we can get a little bit more information from accounting and.
Let me point out, Commissioner, that we're saving the county $32,000 on previous.
Right, but are those the same line items? Are they in the same line budget? Because we might need to do an adjustment to the budget to fix these. Does that make sense?
I don't know. Brittany probably would be the better one to answer that question, or somebody in finance. But my thinking is, and I'm not an accountant, but if you're saving $32,000 and asking for $24,000, that's still about an $8,000 net gain for the county.
I understand, but I want to see where it's coming from. I want to see those numbers being, because we're just saying speculative numbers right now. I don't think we have the exact numbers from Brittany, do we?
Yes.
We do?
From
okay,
Laney.
well, I didn't get them in my packet. So.
From Laney.
From who?
We got them from finance. I got the numbers from finance.
Well, yeah, we didn't get those from finance. James, I think.
James, go ahead.
Yes, that would be coming out the same line item as far as salary line, with the savings from the resolution that's putting more of the burden towards the state. Those savings was $32,000 and change, where the new positions will be coming out of that same line item for the $24,000 increase for a net gain of about $8,000.
And so where was the $4,000 that was over here from the grant? Where did that play into that?
The grant for the Veterans Treatment Coordinator position was, the $4,000 is FICA and something else that
because they weren't getting that.
Right.
Okay.
The grant wouldn't cover that.
Yeah, I would just like to see better numbers so we can make better decisions.
So we do have a substitute motion on the floor. Do we have a second for the substitute motion? All right, so we have a substitute motion and we have a second. Is there any additional discussion? All right, all in favor for the substitute motion? All right, any opposed? All right, so that has been tabled 3-2. Do we know when we're gonna be able to have that information back to judgment? Because I want to make sure we know when we can get back to him. Do we know when we can get that information to the commissioners for review and then get back to him because it sounds like this is very important, and we want to make sure that the board gets the information as quickly as possible so that we can actually get an answer back to.
I would think you could have it
Correct.
tomorrow.
Yeah, we can have
Well-
we can have that tomorrow.
Right. So even if the Board of Commissioners is able to review it, if they're fine with it, we can just ratify it at our January meeting if we needed to do that.
Can I post for the position?
That would be
Can I post for those positions?
Well, the
Oh.
board has to approve those positions
before
they
you can post.
Before you can post.
Right, so I can't
So-
post until after the position
After
is empty.
Correct.
Correct.
Even though they won't officially be the process and everything, it'll take more than a month.
Okay.
So there's an opportunity, but getting the needed applicants for the judge, it's right now he has a employee that's about to retire at the end of this month, if
That's
I'm not
right.
mistaken.
Okay. So if we can get that to the board tomorrow, and then we can have that, Mr. Brown, have that conversation. If the board is fine, then we can ratify that in January, at the January meeting. Would that be,
When you say ratify, what does that mean?
meaning that we will have to make a public vote to ratify it, to be able to say, yes, you can move forward, or no?
Right.
Would that be too
It's go-
late for you to
It'll
post
hamper,
for this position?
it's gonna hamper the operations if we can't, if he retires, if his last day is January 2nd, it's going to, and then we can't post until your first meeting in January, which I guess would be this first Tuesday.
Yes.
And we can't post until after that. You're probably looking at a month without a case manager.
Okay.
At least a month. I'm guessing at least a month. By the time you
Okay.
post it, take applications in, conduct interviews, maybe a month, 6 weeks, somewhere around there.
Okay.
I understand the concern,
Right.
and I do.
Right.
But it is. You're still looking at an $8,000 net gain. But
Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So if we were to get the information that we need and are able to look at that tomorrow, best case scenario, we could do an email consensus, right, and then officially vote on it at the next commissioners meeting.
Correct. Right.
So he could get the job posted, assuming we get everything we need tomorrow or the next day.
Correct. Right. You're welcome.
Okay.
Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. And I guess this is to the county attorney. Wouldn't it have to be in person vote, or can you just do it over telephone?
So the board, my understanding is the board can agree to an action, but yes, the ratification would have to be by public vote. So similar to when decisions are made during executive session, and then you have to come back and ratify it in a public meeting, can make a preliminary decision via email correspondence and then ratify it. But if you don't feel comfortable with that, I understand.
Well, I just think that we're just making a little bit too much of something out of nothing. And those are two good courts that service our citizens and stuff, and we're gaining money. Thank you.
And I agree. I think that what it is that we're having several departments that's coming before us asking for positions, and so we want to make sure that the board is doing their due diligence. They understand exactly where these funds are going to come from. So I don't think it's that the board doesn't want to approve it, just to do their due diligence. And so we're getting a lot of requests for additional positions in several departments. And so we want to make sure that we're being consistent and that we're doing our due diligence and we're looking at all of these numbers from a fiscal responsibility perspective, and that's it.
Well, let me ask this, because I posted as a temporary grant position and then maybe convert it to a full-time position once you do ratify it in January. Could to go ahead and post it as a temporary grant position?
Well,
since that's what is existing now. That's what it exists as now.
So that position is already approved, James?
Yes, those are existing
Okay.
positions.
Okay.
All we're asking is that they be converted from temporary grant to full-time.
full-time.
Full-time permanent.
Yeah, I don't see where that's an issue.
Okay.
So yes, that's possible.
That'll take care of that then.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be
And
fine.
then you can just convert them to full-time once we publicly ratify it.
Yeah.
That works. Yes, sir, Commissioner Henderson.
We have, I know we got the judge here, but could we have the county attorney make sure that the legal?
So my understanding, and Judge Run, please correct me if I'm wrong, there's an existing position that's funded for the court. It's a temporary position. You want to make it a full-time position with an increased salary, right?
Not an increased salary,
No.
same salary, but just adding benefits and
Same
retirement.
salary, but adding benefits. So there's an increased cost for the
Right.
position,
Increased cost.
full-time. So what I'm hearing you say for the proposal is just to, for now, to continue to advertise it as it currently exists and
That's
is
right.
funded, temporary position without benefits, and then upon ratification of the board, whatever candidates you have that are interested, you can bump the offer and let them know it would be
Yes.
a full-time position with benefits.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I think that's fine.
Okay. And I understand and I appreciate the board's concern because I pay taxes here too. So,
Yes, you do.
any other questions?
I think, okay, go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you for understanding. I just, I want to make one more comment that, I think that we're going to have to do a better job on these presentations and understanding exactly what we're getting to. There's I've been begging for this for the last 3 months now because we're getting so many requests. I want to see it in writing. I want to see it in, accounting giving us the numbers instead of us just kind of popping out numbers. My brain doesn't work that way. I need to see the line item and where we're moving it. I understand the math, exactly what you're saying here, but I need to understand that we are doing the right thing because we're getting so many requests for this and we can't do it for everybody. And you guys do a great job of watching your money and everything like that, and we appreciate that. So hopefully we won't hold you up too long, but in the future, just bring us everything. Bring me a spreadsheet if you want to. Get it in that night, okay? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right.
So I believe we need a new motion, right? Because the last one was to table it completely. So we want to go ahead and make a motion to approve, I guess, just a temporary position for that to be advertised, and then also to, consider the benefits at the next later time. Does that make sense?
Yes.
No.
So what he's asking for now is, since we...
Yes.
Right, correct. He's advertising it as is, which is the current position. And then once we get the information, once we publicly ratify it in January, then he can convert it at that particular time to full-time with the benefits.
Okay.
Right, it has been tabled, but I think what he came back and asked, do we want to leave it tabled, or can he go ahead and still post it at the current position that he has? So I guess that would...
I just want to make sure that it's clear for the record that nothing about the board's actions inhibits Judge Wynn from proceeding with the temporary position. So as long as it's clear, it's fine.
Yes, so I think the tabling it just tables it for the full-time position, but he can still move forward with the part-time position.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Commissioner Henderson.
The question I have is that I think you acted on the agenda item.
Right.
What we're doing now is that are you gonna amend the agenda and add it to the agenda so it can be acted on? Because I don't think you can just think of something else and add it to the agenda and vote on it and make it happen. I think it has to be added to the agenda.
We're not. So we've basically, on this agenda item that's on the agenda, we've basically tabled it. So that has actually been approved. So at this particular point, since he already has that position on his books, he's going to move forward with that position as a part-time once we get our information. And then once it's publicly ratified, if it's publicly ratified in January, then he's going to take the person that's in a part-time, and is that point you're going to convert them, or you? It's not part-time. It's temporary. Okay. Okay, so temporary versus part-time. So he's going to move forward with the current position as it is until we can actually ratify the change. Does that make sense, Commissioner? Does that help? You good? Is that? Okay. Thank you, Chief. We appreciate you. All right, the next item on our agenda. That was 10. Okay. So the next item on our agenda is item number 12, which is the consideration of memorandum of understanding between Newton County Fire Services and J. Key Restoration Victims Assistance Program to provide immediate and long-term assistance to citizens impacted by fire incidents, and that's going to be presented by Chief Turner.
Good evening, Board of Commissioners, County Manager, Attorney Johnson. Today I'm asking for approval for victim assistance program to bring here to Newton County. And the reason is on December 18, 2024, Newton County Fire Service responded to a working fire at 1633 Highway 11. At that time, they found a fully involved structure with 5 family members displaced and 2 friends of the family, a total of 7 victims. At the time, Red Cross is our primary resources to assist residents that's been displaced. During this time, I don't know what was going on with Red Cross, but they was unable to respond. Like I say, this was right before Christmas. We had 2 adults, 4 kids, well, 3 adults and like 4 kids displaced. Newton County Fire Service had to take it upon themselves to do an outreach into the community to try to raise money, to find housing, transportation, and clothing for that family. At that time, I made a commitment that we would bring resources that would not cost the county or the citizens any monetary money to support them in their greatest needs. So I'm asking for approval and pretty much bringing 3 companies into the county to support our needs in times of crisis. Red Cross will still be the primary resource to assist victims, but I want to have a redundant system to ensure that we can provide resources to families that have been impacted by fire. So I'm here to answer any question, and actually agenda 11, 12, well, it's 12, 13, and 14 are the same thing. Okay.
Thank you, Chief. I would like to call for a motion. Go ahead, Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say, Mr. Turner, we appreciate what you're doing in the community. And I know when someone of a family have lost everything, you know, you're wanting or needing some help. And the first person they looked at was our firefighters and wanted them to help them. And so, and I know that you've always wanted to help people. I've noticed that you have even went into your own pocket, taking your money and to help causes in our community. So I just haven't said that. I'd like to make a motion to approve what Mr. Turner said, so we'll be able to help people who are in need.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion? Commissioner Long.
Thank you for everything you do. Where does the funding come from with these particular 3 services? How are they funded?
They're funded through grants that they get from the government. Actually, a lot of fire services around the state uses some type of victim assistance to help support their community. They usually come out of secure residence and structures. And also, if Red Cross are unable to respond, they provide shelter, clothing, some temporary, and then assist them with some permanent fixes for their problem.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Not, I'd like to call for, actually, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? All right, that passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next item on our agenda, consideration of memorandum of understanding between Newton County Fire Services and Pace Restoration LLC Victims Assistance Program. Chief.
Pretty much the same spiel. I wanted to bring 3 companies in that we can rotate, that we can always ensure that we will have the resources here in the county.
All right, I seek a motion. We have a motion. Is there a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All right, all in favor? That passes 5-0. Item 14, consideration of memorandum of understanding between Newton County Fire Services and 1-800 Board Up of Atlanta Victims Assistance Program. Chief.
Same thing.
All right, so I call for a motion. We have a motion. Is there a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? If not, all in favor? All right, that passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, item number 16 is consideration of Newton County Juvenile Court to apply for the Burn State Crisis Intervention Program, or known as the acronym SCIP, supplemental funding. And this is going to be presented by Catherine Ryder. Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, doing well.
Hello, everyone. So I am here. We have a current grant it's actually through the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, so CJCC, but it's actually under the Bureau of Justice Assistance, which is BJA. Y'all voted back in the beginning of this year and accepted this award in the amount of $404,686. And the award period was January 1st of this year, and it ends in December 30th of 2025. There is no match, so there's no responsibility on the county's end. We were delayed in getting the award packet to us, which you request before we put it on the Board of Commissioners meeting. And so it delayed us in getting started with services. So we do have some extra money that we would like to ask for more time in order to be able to spend those funds appropriately. And the SCIP grant, so the SCIP, is a Burn State Crisis Intervention Program, and they have actually just released a statement that acknowledged that they are accepting applications for supplemental funding. And so what that is it will, we will request it, and it will just go on top of the award that we already have. We have requested an extension. We have been told by CJCC that they are going to award that to all current grantees, and that will run through September of 2026 of next year. And so the amount that we are asking for, so we're just asking for permission to apply now. We have not actually received the grant, but we are asking that you consider allowing us to apply for the supplemental funding in the amount of $94,400. That will fund the extra time for the personnel that runs the grant, behavioral aid services, evening reporting center sessions, and RISE classes at our alternative center here in Newton County. And again, this is strictly grant funds. We're not asking anything of the county. So this is just asking us to be able to apply to see if we receive the extra supplemental funding for the current grant that we have.
Excellent, thank you. I seek a motion. I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All in favor? All right, that passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next item on our agenda is item number 17, consideration of Atlanta Gas Light Company non-residential gas extension contract for senior services enrichment center at 40 Richards Chapel Road, Covington, Georgia 30016. And that's by our finance director.
Good evening. The first item I have for you tonight is the consideration of the Atlanta Gaslight Residential Agreement. And this is just for the fact that at the Senior Enrichment Center, there's not gas on the road where the center was built. So Atlanta Gaslight needs to run the lines down that road, and we are only going to be responsible for the applicant fee, which is $684, which will be funded by SPLOST. Any questions?
All right, I seek a motion, and so since this is in District 2, I'll actually move that we approve consideration of Atlanta Gas Light Company non-residential gas extension contract for senior services enrichment center for $684 is what you said?
Yes.
Okay. And is there a second?
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion? If not, all in favor? Commissioner Long?
I'm sorry.
All right, that passes 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. The second item that I have before you tonight is a cleanup of the FY25 year-end budget amendment, and this is just to move funds to departments that were over budget as a whole, and we need to get their budgets balanced out for the audit purposes. Let's see. Those departments include Information Services, Juvenile, Public Works, Fleet, Keep Newton Beautiful, and payment to outside agencies.
18.
Do it.
I think you went to 19.
Oh, did I skip? Sorry. Hold on. Let's go back.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. My apologies.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item I have for you tonight is consideration of the budget transfer for contingency for new positions. This is a budgeted item in the FY26 budget, so we do have a line item called contingency for new positions. Once those positions are ready to be filled, we come to you to transfer the money to the departments. So this budget amendment is for the Human Resources Generalist position. We will be transferring over $45,588 to fund that position for the remainder of the year. Are there any questions on this?
What is that?
What kind of position is that?
Yeah.
Do you want to?
If we can put a motion on the floor and a second, then go to discussion and ask our questions. So I seek a motion. We have a motion and a second. All right, so I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Commissioner Long.
What is that position?
This is the position that supports the operations for human resources to support the employees as far as not benefits, but pay, scale orientation, interviews, things of that nature for the HR department.
And so the salary is $45,000 for the year, or just for the 6-month period?
For the remainder of the year, so that would be salary and benefits.
And so this is another person in HR to help with HR, right? Okay, all right.
Any other discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So just to be clear, it was budgeted.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Any other discussion? All right, so we have, okay, go ahead, Commissioner Cope.
So, Ms. Brittany, we saying just 45,000 to the end of this budget? So
yes, so the end of FY26.
Okay, so what would be the total?
Total?
Right.
The 45 would be, I believe I budgeted the 45 at half, so the total for a full year would be right around 90, salary and benefits.
Okay, so will that be budget for the 90, or is that something we got to work on?
That would be budgeted, so that would be a full year, which would be FY27 budget, so that would be included in the FY27 budget if you approve this tonight. But the 45,000 that's being moved tonight is just for the remainder of FY26, so that's through June of 2026.
Go ahead, Mr. Brown.
Yeah, I failed to mention that this position also helps funding, since we did move all the HR functions from fire services back to HR. This position will help facilitate all those functions as well.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Commissioner Long.
What did we do with the person in fire services that was HR?
Currently, she's still over there. Those individuals are in that location.
So she's not gonna, even though we're bringing the human resources back to the administration office, we're gonna keep that person over there.
Well, the full functionality over there, there's some things that should have been done from fire service to HR. This will help facilitate those needed personnel to get their items done correctly in the future. Some of the things that's also have been identified, the reason why we're doing the fire services review, and some other internal practices that we have created since then this past year. So this has been identified that they are needed because they are short-staffed in HR. This will help bridge that gap and kind of get the flow of information and other necessary things that is needed through HR.
I guess my question is, if this person's not doing HR over here, this person couldn't have been moved over here?
No, because the person that was in fire did not do all the functionalities. They did some of it, but they didn't do the full thing. So this is to be a professional person who has all the credentials to know to facilitate everything that needs to be done.
Okay, I'm just a proponent of not layering and layering and layering, so that's where I'm going with this.
If we can please keep all comments. Please, it's a professional board meeting. Please, no outbursts. Thank you, I'd appreciate that. All right, any other additional discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? All right, that motion failed, 3-2.
Okay, we'll move back over to the year-end budget amendment item on the agenda tonight. So as I was stating, this is just to clean up some year-end budgets that were over budget for the year. I'll read that list back out. So this is going to be information services, juvenile, public works, fleet, keep Newton beautiful, and payment to outside agencies. And essentially where we're pulling this money from to balance these budgets is going to be from additional revenue that we collected over what we originally budgeted. So those revenue sources are going to be your loss collections and then our interest income. Are there any questions?
All right, I seek a motion. For the consideration of FY25 year-end budget amendment. All right, so we have a motion on the floor for discussion. Is there a second? All right, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any additional discussion? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Brittany, so I'm clear, could you step me through this item one more time?
Yes, so we had some departments in the general fund that were over budget as a whole. So this is transferring money into their departments to balance their budgets. So this is not an audit finding.
Okay, so when you say over budget in FY25.
Yes, correct.
So this is what we've turned up since July.
Yes.
So, and I'm not accounting smart, right? But so that we won't have audit findings. We're over, so it begs the question: those departments are over budget for what reason? Can you say in general?
Yeah, so a lot of them were just personnel. So one of them was, I believe, the judge's salary changed due to some salary guidelines with the state. So there wasn't enough money there. One of them was insurance changed because we have open enrollment after the budget's passed. So if somebody changes their insurance, like they go from single to family, then that's a additional cost. One of them was just appropriations that y'all approved through the year. When the appropriations were approved, I just did not bring a budget amendment. So that's to clean that up. One is just $2,000 in contract labor, and that was for the security at recreation. And then another one was, let's see, I think the last one for IT, that was just our director left. There was a lot of invoices that flowed in after he left that we didn't know about. And then the additional was Public Works and Fleet. So Public Works was just increased costs in paving of the roads, and then Fleet was just, I think, some unexpected vehicle repairs that they didn't know they had.
Okay, so it would be safe to say that some of these are beyond our control, the one or two, a couple of salary issues.
Yeah.
And the rest are incidental, but no systemic issues that generated these overages, correct?
No, I would not say that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any additional discussion? Okay, Commissioner Henderson.
And I guess, but this is to our county manager. We had talked a little bit about at the end of the other budget that there was money that was going to be moved from the end of the other budget, possibly to this budget. So have we got that particular number yet? And if we do get it, could we use some of that money?
Okay, so the additional money from the end of the last budget, so FY25, so some of the overages and revenue, that is what's offsetting this.
I don't understand. I know one time I think it was estimated about 3 million, 4 million, and I think I was talking, we said we were going to wait until some audit was done, the audit. And I'm asking, do we have an exact number? If it's ain't but $10, do we have an exact number?
Not yet. The audit is currently being conducted now, should be wrapped up by the end of this month, and then we'll make a presentation to the board January, February
Yes,
timeframe.
ma'am. So will there be an overage estimation? I guess.
There potentially will be an overage, but I don't want to state a number until the audit's wrapped up because there could be year-end adjustments made.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Long.
Okay, what is the total overage? Because I've written all this down and I need to add it up. My question is, this is where I'm coming from, what we're doing is we've had departments go over, we've had certain things. I mean, I don't know what other supplies that we went over $179,000 is. Some of these I definitely justify that they are things that, that are somewhat out of our control. So if that total number, I think Commissioner Henderson, my situation with this is you have a budget for a reason, and you're staying in budget for a reason, and if we just go ahead and move money and not understand what we're moving money for, then to balance it out, then for me, and just going back to the same thing that we were talking about earlier, I need to understand why are we over, what these things are. I know you have to balance the budget, and I understand that we have overages of money, but you just don't take money because you have it. You don't spend money just because you have it. You have to put money back. And I feel like that when these things are over, just like we're trying to do now, manage the county's money, and we just can't say, okay, well, let's just put money to it. I think we need all the numbers to be able to make a decision. That's my take on it. That may not be the board's take, but that is where I stand on the money situations. And I would like, I'll sit here and add these up myself, but there's no total on this sheet of paper. And then you've got local options, sales tax used. So did we exceed that dollar amount? We exceeded that?
Yes, we did.
So I guess similar to what Commissioner Henderson was saying, what is the net number of this?
Okay,
so it's actually in the packet. So it's in the packet.
I got it. I'm looking at it, but I don't see any totals on it.
Yeah, it's under you see the account description, the current budget, the increase, and the amended budget amount.
So this nets to zero because it's a budget transfer.
Mm-hmm.
That's an increase in revenue and increase to expense. So that's why
you're
not
moving
seeing
this money
total.
over to net it out.
Correct. So that's why you're not seeing a technical total on this. Like if you were just moving money from one expense to another, there would be a total. But when you're moving money and increasing a revenue and increasing an expense, and nets to zero. That's why you're seeing a
So
total. But the
you-
two negative numbers here, that totals to right about, what, $1 million? So that's the total.
Okay,
of
that
this.
was my question. I mean, I understand how it works. I'm not the best accountant in the world, but I do know how to add. All right, so that was my question.
Thank you. I think the bigger question too is how are we actually incurring these overages? Because we set a budget, each department has a budget. How are they going over?
Well, like I said, the one issue, the IT issue, came from the director leaving and then invoices flowing in at the end of the year. So that was kind of out of our control. The ones with the personnel, so those are just things that happen throughout the year. Like, we didn't expect one department, like one employee in that department changed their insurance. So when that happens after the budget was passed, so that was open enrollment. Your most of this is coming from Public Works. And we all know the issues going on in Public Works right now with no SPLOST funding. And so until the 23 started collecting, I think a lot of their road repairs were funded out of the general fund. So this is where a majority of that's coming from.
So are these departments, are they just writing checks without having the funds available?
No, I mean, they're submitting invoices to finance, but finance has to pay bills when we've incurred the cost, regardless of whether the department's over budget or not. Like, I can't tell a vendor we're not paying their invoice because that department doesn't have a budget.
Right. So I think what it sounds like to me that we've got to do a better job at managing our budget to kind of make sure that the departments are staying within budget. Because if we continue to have these overages, then what is the purpose of us really setting a budget if they're going to continue to go over the budget and disregard the budget that has been set for their department? And of course, I know sometimes factors come into play and things happen. But when you see $1 million worth of overages, that's kind of not just a small amount. So I think we, as the board, staff, we've got to do a better job at kind of trying to manage that to make sure that we're not having a lot of these overages. Any other discussion? Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So you guys heard me ask Brittany a few minutes ago the reasons for these overages, and some of those were incidental, unavoidable. But when you budget like we do in June and July, well, starting in February really, when you squeeze like we do, trying to squeeze the tax, every ounce of energy out of every dollar the taxpayer gives us, we budget low sometimes, and I think a perfect example would be our public works, right? If pavement goes up an exceptional amount, but after we pass the budget, then we can't just not pay for the pavement. You heard Brittany talk about a change in an employee's insurance, and how that money had to be offset. That increase had to be offset. You heard Brittany talk about a state level court position. The court changed the amount of the salary, is what I'm guessing. So we had no choice but to pay that. And that's the reason I asked, was most of this incidental, and I should have tacked on economically driven, because, and I also asked the question, was any of this systemic? Was this abuse within any department? Was this a department head or a department in general just flagrantly going over budget? And I don't believe it is. I believe Brittany's explained that. So I wanted to add that extra in there, that things happen beyond our control. This has happened. It'll happen next year, no matter how tight each department budgets, no matter how tight each department head is. Brittany has done an audit prior to the audit, and this is the findings, and we have to correct it, whether it's budgeted or not. I don't like going over budget any more than anybody else does, but I understand, especially when you have a $100 million budget. Corporate America was no different. There were things beyond the control of the people in charge of those budgets, both at a micro level and the broad level. So I just want to throw that in there. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you for adding that. That does add value to the discussion. Mr. Brown. I'm sorry, go ahead, Commissioner Long.
Of course, I don't think anybody blatantly spent money that they shouldn't have spent, but this is $1,078. I added it up. And I think that I would love for to have a discussion with the other Board of Commissioner members to start having a variance report quarterly done. If we had a variance report quarterly done, then we could see if there was a problem, if we haven't budgeted enough, did we need to move some money, do we need to move a line item? We can manage our money much better if we have a quarterly variance report that comes out. And that way we know exactly where we stand financially, and we're not $1,078. And so there's no board departments, nobody else is out of budget.
There are other departments that are over budget. But I don't understand how we manage money when we don't know what the money is, and when we don't, and we do know we are getting that, so I don't want to make it out like we're not getting things. But I would love to see a quarterly variance report, and then we could, if it's something we cannot control, like roads or something like that, then we have to make adjustments for that. But we're not at the end of the year trying to balance for an audit. And that's just my take on it. Because I think that we just need to have a little bit more.
Thank you. I think Mr. Brown wanted to add.
Yeah, I want to add in a couple components. Let's look at like just hauling and paving roads. Those were just two incidents of a culvert blowing out that took out a road. Those was unforeseen circumstances that happened during the last fiscal year that we had to come back to the board and ask for, for those additional funds to be placed into the Public Works Department. So these are things that's just being cleaned up. But one of the things that we have talked about is to give the board more update on some of the variances and some of the things like that, to keep the board aware. So those are some of the things that we are currently working to give the board more information on. But some of the things that, we will to move towards is the unforeseen circumstances that could happen throughout the year, because we do budget at what we need, but sometimes we may need a little for a catastrophic event or a contingency line that does not exist. So this is when we come back at the end of the year during the audit process to get those lines shored up to make sure we have a good audit report.
I was going to add to that as well. I'm like you, Commissioner Long, in some previous discussions or recent discussions with our county manager, I asked for a quarterly. And I think they are now moving towards monthly.
Well, I've always kind of done monthly reports.
Okay.
So, and there is a department sheet in there where it lists out every department and where they're at currently in the year. So that's included in the packet.
One more point is, when we talked about, the culvert and all that, we moved money over for that. So that should have already balanced. So during the year, y'all have come before us and asked us to make a line item adjustment for some type of road thing. And so did we not adjust for some of those things already?
We did do
from our original budget?
I know we did a mid-year budget amendment, but I do not remember if that was included, but I can look tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm just curious because I remember, it seems like every month we get money, we need money. And I understand that. I understand there's a lot of things unforeseen. But I just want to make sure we hadn't already moved money. Now we're moving another $1 million over.
No, I mean, I would have already done that budget amendment, so this was needed on top of anything that we've already done.
Okay, thank you.
So we've basically declared that these were unforeseen items that we, of course, couldn't plan for if we wanted to. We couldn't have planned for these because they were unforeseen or, like you said, economic increases, things of that nature. Any other discussion? I'm sorry, Commissioner Edwards, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vice Chair. I hate to prolong, I hate to keep beating this horse, but so Brittany's done a preliminary audit. Our audits each year come back clean as a whistle. And if we got some problems this particular year, that audit will show it. If we got abuse in departments, which I don't think we do, you know, we come in, we seem to slide in home the last few years with surpluses. So I think we're doing pretty well, but, and then the audits will tell us when we're not. So thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you. All right. We do have a motion and a second on the floor. If there's no additional discussion.
I was just going to add the motion was for discussion, so only, right?
It says consideration on the agenda. So it says consideration of FY25 year-end budget amendment.
Yes, but I believe the motion that was made was for discussion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we need a motion for consideration or approval or denial, is what you're saying. Okay. So we now have a motion on the floor to approve. Is there a second? All right, so we have a motion on the floor and we have a second. We've had discussion, so all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that passes 3-2. All right, the next item on our agenda is item number 20, consideration of Georgia Department of Human Services Coordinated Transportation Subcontractor Agreement with Newton County Senior Services. And that is going to be James Brown. Right.
Good evening again. This is just a contract that is a subcontract to the state's contractor. So this typically, the senior services contracts through the state of Georgia. However, the state has delved that out to this private contractor. So this is just a MOU for this private contractor.
Thank you. I seek a motion. All right, is there a second? All right, I have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All right, all in favor? All right, that motion passes 5-0. The next item is item number 21, consideration of Dogs Playing for Life event for animal services. Dogs Playing for Life is a national nonprofit organization that provides training to animal shelters, mentorships, and other resources to help shelters enhance the quality of life for their animals. That's going to be presented by Miss Aaliyah Lewandowski. That's going to be you too, James. Okay,
Yes.
Go ahead.
So pretty much this corporation, this organization does provide training for the staff for the animal control personnel. So there's no match, no additional cost. So it's providing additional training.
All right, thank you. I seek a motion. All right, I have a motion. Is there a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All right, if not, all in favor? All right, that passes 5-0. All right, now we have 21A, which is consideration for approval, revised service delivery strategic documents. Mr. Brown, is that you again?
Yes, so this is a update to our SDS with the cities to allow them, not allow, but currently, as it states in the current SDS, that the county owns and facilitates all parks, but there are parks that's also operated by other cities, so we're just correcting that measure. But this is also allow those cities to apply for grants. So this is kind of time sensitive to get the ability for these cities to apply for grants.
Thank you. I seek a motion. All right, I have a motion. Is there a second? All All right, I have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? All right, if not, all in favor? All right, that passes 5-0. All right, the next item on our agenda is item 21B, consideration of professional services agreement with Matrix Consulting Group for a systemic review and update of operations audit for Newton County Fire Services. And that's Mr. Brown again.
Yes, so this is the fire review that we've been talking about. We did the RFP process. We interviewed, if I'm not mistaken, 5 companies and looked through their bios, looked at their responses, and we selected Matrix as the most best of the best. So this contract will be for $61,250 that would be paid out of the 271 fund.
Thank you. I seek a motion. I have a motion. Is there a second? All right, I have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Commissioner Henderson.
Is this the what we had talked about when we was over to the courthouse, the new courthouse, and we were talking about I call it like an audit, like for the fire services. And I think, James, you were gonna give us a RFP, and this is the price, and this money that we're paying is unbudgeted. Am I?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
So this is the selected firm from the RFP process at the $61,250.
Right, and this is the young lady from Matrix. What's her name? I can't think of her name. It's the same company, I guess. I'm not maybe. The one that we use for the our senior, they got different company. Okay, I want to be sure.
Yeah, it's a different company. Yes.
Okay, I want to be sure because I think we got a raw deal on that one. But just let me say this: we have to have a budget. And I agree with Commissioner Long. I agree with Stan and my fellow commissioners. But we just can't want something did and just put it out there and say, well, here's a blank check. We want you to go and pay it, have a service done. I couldn't do it. I don't think no one commissioner up here could do that. On that, and yet, I find out that it's the first time I know about a board, but it's something that's regularly been done, whereas they get monies that are unbudgeted, and they go out and do stuff, and I just think that if we've got to have a budget, and we got to just make sure that everybody knows what's going on and exactly what it's truly used for. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional discussion? Go ahead, Commissioner Cooper.
I'd like to know if, I think we have also have some other department and could be possibly going through some similar at fire services. So my question is what will we do next if some of those other departments come up? Are they going to be extended the same type of audit? See what we can do to assist them, or?
So what we do, we can do it by case basis, to take a look at the department, see if there's anything that we can do internally for review, but if it does expand before the professional knowledge outside of us, that could be a consideration that we can bring to the board for consideration or some guidance.
Is it, and most of our departments are basically running pretty smoothly, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So let me say, for those of you who remember, I was the one screaming for something along these lines, right? So most of our departments, except for the sheriff's department, other than the fire services, are smaller departments, and the amount of turnover in our fire services is a very, very, if you've got any HR experience at all, you'll know turnover is a very, very expensive proposition. So we have got to figure out, and it's beyond 5 part-time commissioner's realm of responsibility, to be honest with you. It's beyond the scope of what we can do, even if it was our responsibility. But I think by putting something like this in place, we can get a better idea of what we're facing, and maybe find some areas of improvement. I believe that was the whole goal, was to find areas of improvement. So I look forward to the results of this assessment. But I had a question, just for the record, and I think this is a rhetorical question, but we did follow county purchasing policies for this organization, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Welcome. Okay, go ahead, Commissioner Henderson.
I mean, we just argued over almost pennies. And Commissioner Long, she added up and said it's $1 million and some dollars, and yet we can go and get money and spend it on something. And I think the objective probably could have been done with some of our person. I guess maybe went to the sheriff department and maybe got somebody to audit for almost free. But we can't continue to do that. I think that's kind of bad business, and it sent out the presidents to the community that if something we want to do, we just, I raise my hand up. We spent $250,000, that's all right. But yet, when it comes down to those department heads, what happens? Oh, they got to spend too much money. So I think we got to kind of tighten up our belt. And one last thing, I'm gonna say this, and I'm through, Mr. Chairman. I can remember myself when they spent $250,000 on me just for about almost 3 years, and it came back to me, and what they had was a broccoli and toilet paper. They said I had taken from Nelson Heights, and this kind of stuff I don't wish that on nobody. And so just stop taking money and doing stuff like that. And if you're gonna do it, bring it out open and just say what you want to say, rather than try to find stuff that's not there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Long.
So I feel like that we've been talking about fire services since the day I started here, and probably before then. And we have a serious need to work on our fire services, and you know, having turnover does cost you a ton of money. So I guess my question is I know there's money in that fire service budget. I know there's money there. And the reason why I say that is because we don't have all our positions filled. We've lost 51 positions in, is that a 12-month period? I was adding those up, or could be a little bit over 12 months. So those cost tons of money to replace people. So I guess my question about this is I think this is needed. I agree with what you're saying. You can't take money, you know, from different places, but I mean, I would like to be creative and find this money in that budget that we have already for fire services. We have positions that are not filled in that, and I don't know if it's right to move a line item over. I don't know why you can't move a line item over in a department, because this is very much needed. We need to do this. We've been talking about it. We've got to do it. We've got some problems there. We know we do, and we want to make sure that we give the chief a fair chance to find out what we need to do in that department, how we evaluate to other departments. We're losing people to other departments. He provided a list to me about everybody we lost and where we lost those people to. Also, we want to make sure when we have recruits that we're keeping those recruits here in our county that we're spending the money training on. I'm sure that'll be included in this. But how can we find a way to creatively, we got to think outside the box, creatively pay for this in a budget that we already have, that we got to figure out how to find a way. I mean, we just can't pull money from other places out of the sky. Same thing we said with Judge Wynn, same thing.
I think with this item, it is coming out of the fire fund, so it's not coming out of the general budget. So it is coming out of the fire fund. Yes, it is. It's coming out of the fire fund. So just to be clear, it is coming out of the fire fund, not of the. That is correct. We're not moving any monies anywhere. It's coming out of the fire fund that's already set aside for fire services. Yes. All right, go ahead, Mr. Brown.
So one of the things that Commissioner Long is, one of their savings is going to be in the salary line because they do have some open positions. However, because we're departments up under the BOC, those are restricted line items. Anything that has to do with employees, we cannot move those funds. But all the other funds and all the other categories could be moved place to place. However, those are needed things that they have to do. So the most appropriate way that we identify for those funds to come out the 271 fund. But I want to kind of give another overview is that pretty much what we want to do is, like Commissioner Edwards stated, we want to give Chief Turner a slate that is as clean as possible. So this is going to go from where we were to where we are now to put us in a better position in the future. So one of the things that we will have this company do is they're going to interview each commissioner on what their vision is for fire services, but not only fire services, but EMS as well. So those are some of the things for the long-term planning that we would like to encapsulate into this report at the conclusion.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson.
Be quick. Where does the fire services money come from? Does it fall from the sky, or do the citizens of Newton County pay that particular money?
Yeah, it comes from the citizens of Newton County at the general fund.
All right, any other discussion? All right, if no additional discussion, I think we have a motion and a second on the floor. And no additional discussion, all in favor? All right, that passes 5-0. All right, and our last item is item number 22, which is our alcohol license. This is the first reading. A Huevo KC Taqueria. The owner is Raquel Arevalo Marrero at 11230 Highway 36th East, Covington, Georgia 30014, and that's in District 5. And then also we have our annual alcohol renewals 2026. Okay, and that's in the packet as well, if you all had an opportunity to review that, the annual alcohol renewal license. All right, that's what I thought. Okay, so I'll just need a motion for the annual alcohol renewals of 2026.
So moved as stated by the Vice Chair.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second? All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Commissioner Evans.
I always like to ask when I remember. So of the list, we know of none of these that are out of compliance, correct? I'm good. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Any other discussion? All right, all in favor? All right, that passes 5-0. All right, and our last item is public comments. This is the time where we allow our citizens to come and make any comments on any topic. We allow each person 3 minutes. So if there's anyone that would like to come up and speak at this time and make comments.
Good evening again, Board. I initially only was going to talk on one issue, but I'm going to talk on 3 real quick. We talked about corporate and budgets. Anybody that I know that is a department lead where I work at, and they're responsible for $1 million over budget, they're fired, period, point blank. Just tonight, you were asked for $120,000. That's just tonight. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was the sidewalks and the money going to public works, whether that's for streets or roads. Again, we have a congressional grant for $800,000 that is waiting for the county manager and Mr. Clegg to make movement in D3 We need sidewalks. Third thing, I'm definitely gonna bring up the West Side facility to the county manager because the ball's in your court. Covington News finds it newsworthy, but it doesn't seem to be worthy of the board's conversation or action as of yet. October 2021, the process of compiling the master plan began with public comments for about 100 participants in 6 public meetings held for each commission district. March 22, the Covington News published an article about the master plan that included the West Side Youth Facility. August 2023, the Covington News reported on land offer withdrawal for the project. August 2025, the Covington News published an article about the project status after it was confirmed the funds were awarded, the federal funds were awarded as early as 2023. It's December 2025, and we still have not found land. We haven't, at the very least, had a discussion or been on the agenda. Thank you. Commissioner for District 3, this is your district. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have public comments? If you can, please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Annette Alston. I'm with the Trelawney Homeowners Association. This is about the data campus that's being planned on Brown Bridge and Crowell. No full public disclosure notice was afforded to the residents surrounding where this data center is proposed to be built. There was a meeting in Porterdale that most people knew nothing about. The city of Porterdale, with a population of over 2,000 people, decided to place a data campus on a huge acreage of land that was annexed to Porterdale 10 years ago, but sits smack in the middle of Covington and unincorporated Covington, an area with more than 30,000 people conservatively living in homes nearby with children attending schools less than a mile away, and in 2 cases directly across the street. A town with about 2,000 people made a decision for more than 30,000 people living closest to that campus. These residents had no idea that the Newton Woods area, Old Golf Course, was ever annexed to Porterdale. There was no hearing for the Covington or unincorporated Covington residents. When Maria and I went across the street to Oak Manor subdivision to speak to residents, none of the many people we spoke to had a clue. Most were under the impression that there would be townhouses and shopping square there. A public disclosure notice should have been sent in full transparency to residents in Covington and unincorporated Covington, informing them of the project and what the operations would include. The construction of 1 or more large-scale data processing buildings, installation of electrical infrastructure, backup generators, and cooling equipment. Increased electrical demand and potential new utility substations, expanded water usage depending on cooling technology. Residents should have been informed of the potential impacts for the residents, changes in property use and surrounding land development, possible increase in noise from HVAC systems or generators, light emissions from 24/7 operators, potential impact in water sewage, storm water, and drainage, tree removal, grading, and changes to landscaping. Residents should be aware of the fact that while Porterdale may receive tax benefits, the people at ground zero from this campus will receive none. Job creation is minimal outside of the actual construction. It doesn't take more than 100 people to run these facilities at most. People should have been able to ask questions at a hearing about the impact on their health. None of this was done. So we demand that this project be stopped until people can weigh in, as they should have been allowed to do in the first place.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comments? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Fanny Alston, and I've been in Newton County for about 22 or 23 years. I live in the Trelawney subdivision, and when I heard about this data center, I was very upset because, number one, I want to live as long as I can. I'm 90 years old now, and this center has a lot of health issues with it, from what I gather. And we weren't told about this. We accidentally found out. Not accidentally, God showed it to us. It wasn't an accident. It was so that we could possibly do something about it, because it's in our backyard. It's about a mile from my house. And right now, I can look out my window and I see nothing but the woods. It's beautiful. And I'm gonna have this, and there's a stream down below. But that's a possibility. It may be contaminated. I can't go nowhere else. This is my home, and I want to protect it. And you're the commissioners. You're responsible for protecting, looking out for your constituents, letting them know what's going on in their district. You didn't do that. You didn't do that. And I'm very disappointed. I really am. I'm very disappointed because I feel that you did not do your job. My taxpayer dollars pay for your salary. I want some results. I want you to care about me. And I want you to care about my property. I don't want it to go down in value. So I would appreciate it if you took some time out to look into this and find out, or get somebody to oversee it to make sure that our health is protected. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Austin. I was going to say, while Miss Austin is sitting down, you look good for 90, mother. You really do. You look good. I had no idea. You look good for 90. Please state your name and your address for the record.
Yeah, right, okay. Frederick Johnson, 1036 Highway 162. I live in Covington. I have a post office, Covington. Anyway, I rise to just remind you all, commissioners, that I normally do cemeteries on King's birthday, if the weather's permitted. So hopefully this year we'll be able to do something this year. And I thank each and every one of you for your donations when I ask for them. So when I come ask you for it and everything, I want you to dig deep. I will be going out checking a few cemeteries to see which ones that we're going to do. And also with what's her name, Laura Riley. She's been helping me out. I think last time I was up here, I told you all that I had a lot of the tools and everything, so I was able to get them back to her. So she has them over in the cousin school and everything. So I'll be letting you know. I'll be letting you know, and I appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. We appreciate you doing that. Thank you. Thank you for that. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Thelma Nolly. I live at 3163 Stone Mountain Street. And I just wanted to tell all y'all, I wasn't able to be here at the last meeting, but I want to thank everybody for all the candy that you donated, for the bags, for the kids and the senior citizens. And they want to say thank you because they appreciate it. And Commissioner Henderson, I want to say thank you for what you were doing on the other side of town while I was delivering on another side of town. I want to say thank you for you and your family. And I also want to say thank you to Chief Turner them for having the fire truck out there that the kids enjoyed. And last month, Anthony Henderson, Sharika Davis, and the newly elected Dwayne Turner, they gave out some turkeys on Clark Street for the people that lived in the city. So I want to thank Commissioner Henderson for coming out, help passing out the turkeys, and I want to thank James Brown for coming out, him and his family, and help passing out the turkeys. So, you know, sometimes it's good to give all the year round, not just at Thanksgiving, because people eat more than just at Thanksgiving. So I'm not coming up here asking for no money or anything, but I'm just saying thank you. And, you know, it's good to give back to the senior citizens who our wisdom come from, and to make sure that our kids are taken care of, because they bring up where we leave off at. So thank y'all so very much for all that y'all do. And y'all have a blessed night and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year too.
Thank you, Ms. Thelma. You too.
James Franklin, Gum Creek Road. Good evening, Chair, Board. Members of the Board, I'm here today as a concerned member of the Fire Department because our ability to protect the citizens and the firefighters who swear to do so is in immediate danger. National safety standards call for 4 firefighters on every truck. Most days we roll out with just 2 firefighters. That's not just a statistic, it's an unacceptable risk on every call. This year alone, as was said previously, 51 people have left. That's nearly 1 every week that we're losing. These aren't just new hires. We're losing experienced officers and leaders, the very people who train and guide our recruits. Looking at our roster from just 4 years ago, 40% of those people are gone. Today I looked at the roster from 12 years ago, 67%, 2/3 of those people no longer work here. That means 23 of those people still work here. That's a horrible retention rate. So we're just not facing a staffing shortage, we're experiencing a hemorrhage of institutional knowledge and experience. Why is this happening? We all know why. Those people that are leaving are telling us clearly and repeatedly why they're leaving. They point to recurring issues that have seen no meaningful action. The result, fewer, less experienced crews facing more complex, dangerous calls. This directly increases the risk of firefighter injury and death. But by the grace of God, we've not lost a firefighter. And it also jeopardizes the safety and property of every citizen in Newton County. Now, people always say to us, we love and support our public safety. Our firefighters need to say those kind words backed by urgent, kind action. They need to know this board hears them and is committed to solving these documented issues. I'm asking for the board's direct commitment. We must move swiftly to retain our experienced personnel and rebuild a department that can safely serve our growing community. The time for studying and talking is over. The time for action is tonight. Will this board make firefighter retention and competitive compensation a top priority? Our community's safety depends on your answer. Finally, I want y'all to know it's not all about money. That's not just why people are leaving.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up. Thank you.
Elena Sanders. I just want to add on to what I spoke on earlier in regards to the chairman and the county manager report. And Madam Attorney, this is not a new issue. This has been happening for years. And it's not the fault of the county clerk. What I was told by the previous attorney is that the reports are not done on time. So they cannot put the information on there. That's unacceptable. So that needs to be done on time. I can give you 100 reports, I can give you 100 agendas and videos to match, that you have the county manager or the chair speak and their topics are not listed on the agenda. So that's why I spoke of that. In reference to the data centers, report shows that data centers require enough energy to power small cities. Data centers impact home insurance, risk modeling, resale values, quiet enjoyment of property. Family invest their life savings into their homes. They deserve stable infrastructure, not unstable environments. Now, you may say this has been annexed to Porterdale. Yes, but the county, based on Georgia code, has a responsibility. The county holds authority to object to land use that negatively impacts county infrastructure, safety, and services. They can file intergovernment disputes, issue development impact statement, request environmental review pressure, call for power and water consumption reporting, submit formal objections when county residents are impacted by city-approved industrial projects near housing communities. So commissioners, you do have the authority to say something. I have heard many disputes of the data centers in the other areas. Let's make sure that District 3, 2, and 4, because that's where that data center is going to be, that you show the same progression towards that data center. Because the difference between the ones in the other area, this one is smack dap in the neighborhood. Down the street from a high school and surrounding subdivisions. So there is research of the effects of the environment on residents. Now, I'm not against data centers, but the issue is here in Newton County is that our ordinances are not updated. So the responsibility lies on you to make sure that you update your zoning, that data centers are only in certain locations. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Patricia Frazier Coleman, and I reside in Trelawney. I've been there 22 years, and watching the growth is unbelievable for me. I cannot get out of my subdivision between 4 and 5:30 because of all the traffic on Brown Bridge Road. This data center is going to make it worse. The data campuses traditionally have no oversight. No state or federal agency reviews whether a data center should be built.
Ms. Holman, do you mind speaking into the mic for me, please?
I'm sorry.
No problem. Thank you.
There is no requirement to analyze the power grid burden on nearby homes. No requirement to forecast housing or water capacity impact. No requirement to disclose long-term site transitions or decommissioning plans. No statewide zoning guidance for Georgia, meaning counties are on their own. It is incumbent on Newton County to make sure it does not become a dumping ground for all of these data centers by putting in place zoning laws, oversight, guardrails, and impact studies to protect the environment and the people who pay their taxes and reside here. Some counties around the United States, some counties around us have created data center overlay districts which set minimum distances from homes. They also restrict generator placement. They limit nighttime lighting. They require sound walls and vegetative buffers, cap building heights, require power and water use transparency. The people who live here do not want to be dumped on by tech moguls who have proven that they care nothing for the people who live anywhere. Tell these billionaire tech moguls to build these data centers in their own backyards, not ours, and or create the type of oversight that truly protect the people you serve.
Thank you.
John Dobbs. I live at 211 Dry Pine Road. First off, the data center. I seen a special on TV, on Channel 2 News. They was running an investigative report about data centers that was in, I think it was in Douglas County. They use 6 million gallons of water every day. Do we have 6 million gallons we can spare? Power, who's going to pay for it? Is it going to be put on us as citizens, senior citizens especially, ones who know how much we get at January, end of January? We know exactly how much money we get for the year. And one other thing, the budget number 18 on y'all's sheet, it had 45,000. I heard somebody asked, was that for the 45,000? Was that for the year? And I think I heard it was for the month. If it's for the month, you're paying somebody $540,000 a year. That's a lot of money. And the other thing is the budget every year that comes up in April. I was up here on the first meeting. There was a bunch of senior citizens in here. We was all complaining about how much we're going to have to pay on taxes. After that meeting, we all got to leave. We come back that afternoon. The same afternoon. That same afternoon, I had a commissioner on this board look at me when I got up here and talked the second time, said, we already passed the budget. We're only having these meetings because we have to by state law. What's the meetings for? If you done passed the budget and you done raised our taxes, why have the meeting? That just don't make no sense to me at all. This year I lost my wife. I also went into the hospital. I spent 3 weeks in the hospital at Emory. I have a Gillespie bag. I had to come up with $6,000 that I didn't budget for. I don't get to go and ask my neighbors to help me pay the $6,000. I had to take it out of my savings account. If these people in Newton County don't know how to run their office, you give them so much money a year, and they don't know how to run their office, they need to be fired. No questions asked. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Dodd. Anyone else? All right, I don't think we have anyone else, so we'll go to Commissioner comments. Commissioner Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I don't have anything other than hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, and I hope you have a great Christmas and a wonderful New Year. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Cooper. Can you speak on your mic for me, please? That's okay.
It's all right.
No problem.
Just have a Merry Christmas and also a Happy Thanksgiving and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. I'm not in front of. I want You want to say something? Just kidding. But if you want to say this, here recently, first of all, I'd like to congratulate our new county clerk. I'd like to congratulate her for being county clerk. And I just want to add this to my fellow commissioners, is that Miss Jackie, my friend, and who was the clerk that I loved for so many years, she had an assistant clerk, and that was Sister Susan Nolly. I think it's time for us to start at least looking at her a assistant to help her, because I feel like that sooner or later, in the first part of the year, that she's going to have a humongous workload from us. And we need to try to support her as best we can and hold on to good people. Secondly, I was concerned when our county managers took us over to Station 1. And we walked around, talked, and they was telling about it. And it always came about the money. You know, in order to retain good people, you had to pay them what they're worth. Secondly, I noticed per our conversation that there were some ladies that were going to be, and I talked a little bit to the county attorney after the executive session over at Station 1. They need somewhere for them to sleep. This can't be an open barracks with men's. I mean, come on, y'all. Times have changed, and we need to make sure that we prepare a decent place for those women to work and be a part of our fire services. And I know we're losing a lot of old ones, but there's a lot of new ones coming in, and a lot of ladies going to be coming in to help fill those positions, possibly. And we need to make sure that we are prepared for them and that we can do something that I would have a place where my daughter could come and work. And I feel pretty good about her going there sleeping at night. And I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Commissioner Long.
It makes me so happy to hear that everybody is thinking about data centers and how bad they are and how terrible it is. I have been living this data center nightmare since January 1st or before then. And I'm staying very involved, learning more and more every single day about the data centers. We are currently have 12 that are trying to come to Newton County. That's ridiculous. We've made national headlines now. Yesterday, myself and Dr. Lisa Miller met with Fox Business News, was here from New York City to talk to us about Newton County becoming a data center dumping ground. You know, I really, really am at the point where I want to take a stronger stand and have Newton County to say no to these, just say no. And we have the water capacity to
Can we please not have any?
These commissioners understand this. We've been talking about it for so long now. We have the benefit of having our county manager be involved with the water department. So I'm excited that he understands. He hears from me every day harping on something about water. And, you know, Mike Hopkins said in a document that I found yesterday when I was researching, he said that we will be in a dire need for water at 2030 in that document. That's 4 years from now, y'all. 4 years. Do we have the money to build another reservoir? No. We have a huge data center, which we do not have. We only have the zoning for data centers at Stanton Springs, okay? There's a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of wrong information. If you want to follow me on my Facebook page, I put a lot of data center information out. I'm not afraid, I'm not scared, I'm not shy, okay? So there's a lot of misinformation. So you need to understand that these cities want these because they are in desperate need for money. They get franchise fees. There's big money rolling around on these things. So it is a powerful thing, but we do have the power to stop them. We do as a group have the power. Go to these meetings. You need to hit the meetings at the city of Covington. You need to hit that group. You need to go to Porterdale's meetings, and you need to say the things that you said to this board tonight. Everybody wants to come to this board and fuss and fuss and fuss, which we're fine. But you got to go to these other ones too. We need your help. We need you involved. We need you screaming. We need you mad, because that's the only thing that's going to stop this. And I would love to, at first of the year, we're supposed to have a joint meeting where we can talk about data centers, but we got 12 sitting out here, y'all. And these are all going to cities. They're not in the county. So get involved, stay involved, keep going, keep fighting this fight with us. And we appreciate every bit. It takes a village, and we all know that, to get anything done. And I appreciate your passion for it. I'm so distraught over it. It keeps me up at night. But I'm going to keep fighting for what's right for us. And to know that we made national headlines, that's sad. I don't want to make national headlines. Okay? So I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I wish myself happy birthday, because y'all won't be here on my birthday, December the 18th. And I can't wait to continue to work with this wonderful group of people that I have the joy to work with. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'll close us out. Thank you. I want to say thank you to this board. I think we've had an amazing year. We've done some great work this year, working together in solidarity, working together on issues that matter to our community, and really being able to help resolve those matters to the best of our ability. Thank you to our staff. We could not do this without our staff. We couldn't make these decisions without them. All 700 plus staff members, thank you. Thank you for everything that you do to help us and support this board to make those good decisions. Hopefully everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I do want to give a special shout out to Trinity Worship Center in District 2. They allowed me to come in and co-sponsor with them over Thanksgiving. We gave away free hot meals. We had a lot of people coming in. We gave away turkeys. It was an amazing event just to see this ministry and their outreach to people on the west side of the county, to be able to help them in the time of need. We understand all the things that are going on. And so just to be able to help those individuals sit down, have a conversation, have a hot meal, and then to be able to have them to walk away even with turkeys as well was great. I do wanted to add to the data center conversation. I know the data center that was mentioned over on the corner of Brown Bridge and Salem, for those who may or may not know, Crowell, I'm sorry. It is Crowell. You're right. Thank you for the correction. I'm sorry. Brown Bridge and Crowell. I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me. That area is Porterdale. So that is in the municipality. It's not in the county. And so this board didn't put anything out there about it because it's not in the county. So as Commissioner Long was saying, we're seeing a lot of municipalities, they are wanting to have these data centers in the city because it's revenue generating. And so Mr. Brown, I've asked Mr. Brown to meet with you, Ms. Austin, to have that conversation, to kind of explain to you from a water resource perspective what our county is doing to kind of help address those concerns as well. But that particular data center has been annexed into Porterdale, so it's not actually in Newton County. No, ma'am, it's not. It is in Porterdale. So, ma'am, please don't yell out. It's actually annexed into Porterdale. It is not Newton County, so we don't have any control over anything that's actually in municipalities or in the cities. So I wanted to put that out there to make sure that you all were aware of that. We are also doing our best to address the data center issues in our Unified Development Ordinance as well. So that's being addressed there also. So I don't want people to think that we're not addressing the data center concern. We are, and we're making sure that we're putting things in place to ensure that we're not allowing these data centers to come in and negatively impact our community. So I will end as well by saying have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and I'll need a motion to adjourn. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? All right, this meeting is adjourned.